good morning, everybody, and welcome to Breakfast with Roger and Friends on a beautiful Tuesday morning. My goodness, the 25th of August, and this is Breakfast with Roger and Friends, and that includes Teri Chamberlain. Good morning, Teri.
Good morning.
And the affable and sports authority, Mike Olson. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning. Nice to be here with everyone.
And Dan McDonough. Good morning, Dan. How are you this morning?
I'm trying to words like affable, though. I'm not sure.
I don't even know what the hell the word means.
I don't either. That's what I was going to ask.
Now, quit swearing, Roger. This is a family show. What's the matter with you? Well, I was really struggling. Now, do I call you retired Air Force general? Do we call you retired? How should I introduce you?
Well, yeah, as long as you call me retired, you can call me anything.
Okay.
That's a great adjective.
There would be a limitation on that category. You don't realize what a wild guy I can be sometimes.
I suppose you're right. Yeah, retired general would be just fine.
Okay, retired General Dan McDonough. That's right. 37 years are we talking about?
39 and a half, Roger. Don't cheat me out of those last two. That's good for my pension.
Well, I got the word that you didn't do a whole lot the last 2 years.
You're probably right.
See how quickly things change?
Who you been talking to?
Well, I got that word from Colonel Robinson, now retired General Robinson.
That's it. You're right.
Facing retirement is always a challenge for a lot of people. Now, I have someone very dear and close to me. Can't wait to retire at age 65. Well, here I am, 72.
You are.
And, don't I wish?
Shoes are 72.
Well, you were 72.
Yeah, I don't even wear that size. Anyway, but why do some people look forward to retirement? Do they realize life can be very boring when you have no structure in your life?
Or you can look forward to it because you can do whatever you want.
Whenever you want.
Whenever you want.
Well, you're right.
Yeah.
So I think
if you have the money to do it.
Well, that's a great point. If you're well enough off to not have to worry about money, but some of the things you don't have to worry about setting an alarm clock unless you got to wake up and go do something fun like get on the radio. Or,
did it work this morning?
Well, it did, but it wasn't so fun when that alarm clock went off.
I know.
I was just going to say,
I don't know about you.
Fun, but
I don't wake up until about 5 minutes in the shower. And then I finally realize, you know what? I'm going to have fun today. But up to that time, I'm thinking, why am I doing this?
This would be a lot better if we could do the breakfast with Roger at about 9:30 in the morning.
How about noon?
9 to noon.
How about
noon? Now you're getting into my golf game.
However, being in the military, early mornings are a way of life.
That was just the way it was. Especially when we're deployed overseas, the clock never stops. I mean, we were flying around the clock, and so one of the things when you flew the type of airplane that I did, it wasn't uncommon that you would fly 18-hour days, and so you'd start
18-hour days.
Yeah.
You got to be kidding.
And so, one day you might wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and then fly an 18-hour day, and then you get a day off, and then the next day you'd wake up at noon, and then you'd fly 18 hours, and then so by the fifth day you're waking up at 6 o'clock at night, and then fly 18-hour days. So in a matter of 7 days, you'd only sleep 6 times. And so it was exhausting. Yeah.
Well, I guess it was.
Yeah.
Were there times in the 18-hour flights that you were on that you put it on automatic and dozed off?
Never. I didn't. I know some people did. Mine was just because I couldn't sleep in the airplane.
Too much noise.
Well, that or too much. I think too much responsibility, realizing that I'm in charge of this beast.
Yeah, and the crew behind you.
Right. Yeah. I don't want to.
But you had a co-pilot.
Who's probably asleep over there.
That's I had a close call in my young life. Me and a buddy drove straight from Peoria to Denver. We'd heard that there are a lot of young women in Denver, so we wanted to check it out.
You wanted to go help them?
Were there?
We drove, and so we took turns driving, and at the end of my shift, I don't know, 2 hours, 3 hours, or whatever, we pulled off the side of the road, and I went to the passenger, and he got in the driver's, and it was like 2 in the morning, and he took off, and I don't know how much later it was, but I woke up and we were off the road.
Oh my gosh.
And we heard rocks flying and everything, and he had fallen asleep at the wheel. Mm-hmm. That's how close I came to losing my life.
Yeah, that's.
Of course, the rest of the trip to Denver, we were on an 18-hour
you were wide-eyed.
I
at that
was
point.
Wide-eyed,
yeah.
bushy-tailed.
And I kept saying to him, like every 5 minutes, "Are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm okay."
You good? You
Yeah.
okay?
All it took was a near-death experience
That'll
to
wake you up.
recognize.
Roger,
Exactly.
if I could add to that, the biggest thing I retired at 60, but what I knew it wasn't going to be nothing. You know what I'm saying? In fact, I tell people that retire now from teaching, or that I know, or anybody that's retiring, is don't say yes for the first year. Somebody told me that, and
So
I
I gotta
failed
leave,
badly.
guys. I'm out of here.
No, I failed badly.
Hey, Mike, you want to talk to me before the show in the future about what you're saying?
Well, well, I mean,
You're right,
I'm not
yeah.
going to get carried away with it, but I mean, I volunteered way too much.
Well, yeah, you're going from one extreme to the other.
Right.
You're a gregarious type of
Well,
guy.
I know, but
you can't sit
so
home
people
playing
know that
solitaire.
too, and they know I have a hard time saying no. And I mean, I can't. I was on very few boards when I worked.
Right,
I had
right.
work to do. I'm on way too many boards right now, and I don't
Well,
like meetings.
Yeah.
Who likes meetings?
I'll never
I mean,
forget.
tell me something to do and let me go do something.
I'll
but
get
don't,
after it, yeah.
but don't have me
Don't.
write the agenda. The next thing I know, well, you'll be the second vice president,
Yeah.
won't you? Oh yeah, that's 4 years away.
Yeah,
well, guess what happened?
That
Yeah,
can,
yeah.
but
4
you
years
know,
went by pretty doggone fast.
But don't you agree? You're pretty much retired now. But the thing that you've done over the years since you retired is you still go to baseball games.
Yeah.
You make yourself do things.
That part I enjoy,
That's
and
not
that,
work,
and
though.
that's
No,
the other
that's
part.
right.
That's the other part of it. But once again, if you start saying yes too much, then that interferes what you want to do. I hate it when I'm double booked. You know.
Are you talking about what your wife has to do or other people?
Well, it's the demands of the show. I mean, he's got
Yeah.
to do research.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
24 hours.
He does nothing. His wife writes the script for him. He just comes and
I go to
and
bed about 9. Honey, I hit a wall. I use this. I hit
many
a wall.
people? How many people, when they retire, use their spouses as their secretary?
Well, I
You
have
gotta
to
know.
admit,
Yeah.
hey, I hadn't been married 1 month. She was typing papers because I didn't type, and I was working on my master's degree. I wasn't very good master, really.
Well, you didn't marry a wife. You married an employee.
Yeah.
I hope you have some good retirement benefits for her.
Hey, we're doing fine, and we're going to talk about employment today, and somebody got in trouble with employment.
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, let's do what we do every day, every morning from 6 to 9, bring you the most comprehensive news in Peoria radio with all kinds of We'll start with the weather brought to you by Realtor Kathy Reynolds of Home Smart. Now listing a beautiful 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo in the city with an unbelievable view of the countryside from a gorgeous living room. This home has a beautiful kitchen with adjoining dining room plus other beautiful amenities. And you get more details from Kathy Reynolds. You can reach Kathy today, 309-696-2162. The number again, 696-2162. And we have a beautiful weather outlook. Our live weather report, reminding everybody take advantage of today's sunny, beautiful August day with a high around 81 degrees. Tonight, partly cloudy, a low 60. Tomorrow it'll be sunny and breezy and warmer, 86. There's about a 20% chance for afternoon showers tomorrow. Otherwise, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, sunny with highs around 82, 83 degrees. And currently our temperature at 59 degrees. Now the news brought to you by Spoon River Home Health, bridging the gap between hospital and home with skilled nurses, therapists, and personal care assistants. Been around helping people since 1993. Quality care by quality health care professionals, and they're available 24/7 to take care of your loved one. Their phone number, 309-245-0723. Now the news.
Well, Morton police were called to the FedEx facility at 500 East Highland Street shortly before 9:30 yesterday morning, where they found a man dead from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound inside a vehicle. The weapon was recovered. The authorities confirmed that there's no active threat or danger to the general public, but the emergency response by police coincided with a brief secure safety response by Morton schools.
Ooh. Meanwhile, they had a lockdown at Pekin High School after officials received a bomb and weapon threat via a swatting phone call. A swatting call is a fake emergency call made to police or to a school or business, forcing police into sending armed officers to a targeted location. It's a way of harassing someone or someplace. After a search of the school, officials determined the call was a hoax.
There's been quite a shakeup at the Creve Coeur Police Department. Creve Coeur Mayor Fred Lang says the police chief, deputy chief, and an officer all resigned last Friday. No reasons were given for the resignation. Lang said Dale King has been appointed interim chief, replacing Justin Egan. Also gone are Dan Nelson, deputy chief, and Officer Dustin Ward.
Wow. Peoria School District has failed to do an annual audit, so the board last night voted to hire a firm to do a check of the district's financials. No reason given as to why audits were not provided.
Woodford County Chief Deputy Dennis Tipsworth reports the arrest of 6 people he says were involved in an indecent solicitation of a child for sexual purposes. That's awesome. Very good, yeah. The gang of 6 were from a number of cities, including 2 from Peoria. 55-year-old Richard Pelise and 31-year-old Michael Douglas Jr. Also charged were 79-year-old Stephen Rassi of Morton, 66-year-old Jeffrey Collier of Bloomington, 54-year-old Mark Stevens of Minonk, and 19-year-old Hayden Meeker of Villa Park. All 6 have been released until their trials.
That's spooky.
Yeah.
Oh.
Peoria County prosecutors announced the arrest of 19-year-old Kamar Crabb on charges of physically abusing a 2-month-old infant under his care back in January.
Jesus.
The infant suffered multiple bleeds to the brain and arm fractures as diagnosed by emergency room doctors. No word on why it took 8 months for authorities to charge the babysitter with aggravated battery to a child. Crabb, in a separate case, has been charged with armed robbery.
East Peoria Mayor John Cole has announced he will seek re-election. Cole said he was proud of the accomplishments the city has made under his leadership during the past 7 years. The election will be held April 6th of next year. So far, no one has announced any interest in running for mayor.
Some people in the local media are running into each other over the price of gas. However, a check of stations in Pekin and Creve Coeur yesterday revealed prices lower than the pumps at Costco in East Peoria. The price? $4.09 a gallon. What a deal.
Bargain at any price there.
Yeah, you're exactly right. You know, it's rare to have other stations at a lower price than Costco.
Costco, that is very
Costco's
rare.
usually
That's the
pretty
point
good.
that's being made there.
Yeah.
Economic officials say gas prices tend to spike rapidly when the price of a barrel of oil goes up, but they decrease more gradually when oil prices drop.
I wonder why. The profit margin have something to do with
I
that?
can't imagine that. Yeah, so yesterday, West Texas crude oil dropped 2% to $85 a barrel. By the way, the highest national average price for a gallon of regular gas during the presidency of Joe Biden reached an all-time record of $5.02 in January of 2020. Let's make that 2022. I was driving to Springfield every day during that period in a F-150 that gets 18 miles to the gallon, so I can tell you exactly when that was. $5 a gallon hurts a lot when you drive to Springfield.
It's not even cheap. Yesterday I filled up at $4.09 in a Pekin gas station. That's why I was doing this story, and it still wound up $60.
Oh, yeah.
I paid 88 yesterday.
Yeah. Well, I drive an F-150 with a 37-gallon
that's why,
tank of gas,
I mean,
so you could
people can say what they want, right? But on an average income for a family, they can't pay $88 to fill their gas tank.
No, and that's why they don't fill up.
They-
See, we're able to fill up, but there are people that can't. And, I've pulled into a gas station after somebody pulls out, and I'll see on the register $22 or $24. Like, that's all they could afford at this particular time.
That's not even a third of a tank.
Not going to get very far either.
That's 6 gallons.
Well, and it raises the question, is it more economically wise to do a little at a time? In terms of psychological, if you fill up, you feel, I've got everything under control, until 2 days later you look, I have to put more gas in, versus putting in a little bit, which is a reminder, I can't do any joyriding. If I have errands to run, I'll run them all at the same time, rather than, I don't know, everybody has a different thought process.
But at some point, you're still going to pay that $88
exactly.
is what I'm
Oh,
saying.
absolutely.
And in fact, you don't live in Pekin yourself, and you may be going by it or something, but you understand what I'm saying?
I happen to be in Pekin for a reason. I thought, well, while I'm here, let's find out. And I don't consider Gas Buddy as my source for information, but you can find out what prices are.
Yeah,
it's pretty good at determining where the good prices are, the lower prices. And Creve Coeur and Pekin both are lower than Peoria and East Peoria.
Sometimes taxes. You get a penny or two per gallon for taxes.
In fact, just dealing with Peoria, as long as you get into the Heights, you eliminate the Civic Center tax and all that. And
but what is that? Worth 2 cents a gallon?
No, it's more than that.
Really? What is it?
Well, it's usually about 10 cents.
Ooh.
No, I pay $4.19 at Beck's.
Okay.
$4.19. I just go by the Marathon at
See, I
Richwoods.
beat you by 10 cents.
Right, but I live a long way from Pekin, and I don't go through Pekin very often.
I know, but doesn't it make you feel good? No, I know it.
Not if I have to travel to Pekin.
I tell you what, I remember years ago,
if you do,
to save on
if
gas.
I was going to Pekin every day, if I had a job or something, I would get my gas there,
I remember years ago when I was going downhill and I'd put it in neutral. Okay, did we cover the waterfront with the news? One more burning question, a burning subject that we don't want to miss. What is that, Terry?
The Supreme Court has ruled in favor of President Trump's decision to place restrictions on voting by mail. Trump has maintained for years such voting is vulnerable to cheating. 23 states sued to lift the executive order restrictions. They lost.
Yes, they certainly did. And it's important. I don't know why people are so much against making sure that elections are run
free and fair elections.
Exactly. I don't understand that. 23 state attorney generals filed suit to prevent restrictions on how you vote. And there's been video saying, "Oh, there's no fraud." There's been video, including locally, of people harvesting votes, dumping ballots into a drop-off mail container. It's crazy. Anyway, let's turn to news from WCBU this morning, see what they have.
From the WCBU newsroom, I'm Jason Zahler. John Call is running for a third term as East Peoria's mayor. Call announced his bid for re-election in the April election this morning in a post on social media. He says the city has accomplished a lot by taking a common-sense approach and working collaboratively during his 7 years of leadership. Call says East Peoria is stronger, safer, and more vibrant today, and the city has been fiscally responsible with taxpayer dollars. Call ran unopposed in his first re-election bid in 2023. An environmental advocacy group says growth in energy-intensive data centers in Illinois is making it more difficult for the state to reach its renewable energy goals. Hannah Flath with the Illinois Environmental Council says the state is already behind its pace to reach its target to be carbon-free by 2050.
I think it's one of those things where we set that goal in 2021. We definitely did not expect that data centers were going to impact us in the way that they have over the last couple of years in particular.
The Environmental Council is pushing for lawmakers to pass the Power Act, a bill that would require data center operators to provide their own energy, all from renewable sources. Two Peoria area organizations are receiving nearly $150,000 in state library grant funds to expand their adult literacy programs. WCBU's Joe Deacon reports.
Neighborhood House has been awarded $82,000, and the Peoria County Regional Office of Education is getting close to $67,000. Both offer adult literacy programs taught by volunteer tutors and trained educators. State Representative Jahan Gordon Booth says literary programs like these are essential to helping people improve reading proficiency to qualify for employment. The funding will allow each organization to offer more courses and dedicate more resources to educational tools. I'm Joe Deacon.
A charitable donation will provide special body armor for one particular member of East Peoria law enforcement. Police Department K-9 Luna is getting a bullet and stab protective vest, donated by the nonprofit organization Vested Interest in Canines. The custom-fitted vest will be embroidered in memory of East Peoria detective Bob Vester, who died earlier this year. Vested Interest has provided more than 6,600 canine vests nationwide since 2009. I'm Jason Zahler.
Let's get into the world of sports, lots of activity. I think even on Monday night. Here's Mike Olson.
Major League Baseball last night, and the Cubs did very well. The Cubs defeated the Arizona Diamondbacks 7-0.
Did you watch that game at all?
I watched some of it.
You know, there was some very serious chirping back and forth at the dugouts, and I only caught part of it because I didn't see the beginning or even the end of the game, and it was nasty. I mean, those dugouts did not like each other, and I wonder what started. Do you know what precipitated it?
It doesn't take much. It doesn't take much. It takes one guy to get her going.
And even the manager got involved.
Well, that usually happens too. I've been there.
Where did you ever do that? Did you ever lose your cool?
Oh yeah, too much.
You've done it on this show a few times.
You're right. But the Cubs.
Happen here in a second. Let him finish the sports here.
Yeah.
The Texas Rangers, though, put it to my White Sox. I'm kind of a White Sox fan right now too.
Oh, I am too. Chicago team, Midwest.
Yeah, and they're leading the league.
You and the
their
Pope.
division. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's right.
But
You think that has something to do with it?
I know one of
sure.
the players from Springfield that I tried to recruit for our merchants team, and I know his dad. I knew his dad better.
Is that Mindrith?
No, it's Anatachi.
Anatachi,
Not Agatucci, but Anatachi.
Anatachi,
from Springfield Griffin, and between his junior and senior year, somebody had told me about it. I went and saw him over at East Peoria, and I said, hey, if you're looking for a college summer team, I'd love to have you this summer. And he said, well, I'll definitely consider. And I talked to his dad about it, but he ended up playing what I call 18U travel ball again, which he already had a scholarship to many places, but he took the one to Heartland. But
he did play at Heartland.
Heartland for
Isn't
2
that
years.
interesting?
Yeah.
In junior college.
Well, he
Christopher played with or against the Mindrith, second baseman, and Chris out-hit him by quite a margin. And he said, "Here he is in the major leagues, and I'm coaching at the college level."
I know exactly what you mean.
It is. Well, so the Cubs won 7-0.
7-0.
That Gossman was a good find for the pitching staff.
Gossman was a good find. Yeah. Gossman is the legitimate starting pitcher in the big leagues. Now, does that mean he wins all the time? No.
No.
But none of them do. I mean, you remember the days when Denny McLean would go like 32-5 or something, and Bob Gibson would go 25-4. Those days are over.
Those days are over, aren't they?
Pitch complete games almost every time they hit the mound.
Yeah.
You bet they did.
You didn't take Bob Gibson out.
No,
You sure did.
I'll bring it in someday if I can roll it up. Bob Gibson one year was never taken off the mound.
Wow.
He was never
Really?
Now that doesn't mean he pitched every game. He could have been pulled for a pinch hitter if they were losing late in the game.
Yeah, in the 7th or 8th.
Okay, but never during the game when he was pitching did the manager ever come out and take him out of the game.
And here's a factoid. Not too many people can say, well, a lot of people can say it, and I'm one of those. I struck out on 3 pitches against Bob Gibson in a fantasy camp at Busch Stadium.
There you go.
And as I walked back to the
Well,
dugout,
I'm very surprised to hear that. But as far as there were many people that struck out.
As I went to the dugout, one of the coaches of the fantasy camp says, "Don't worry about it, Monroe. A lot of people struck out on 3 pitches against this guy."
And not only that, some people probably said, "Hey, if I only stand there for 3, he's probably not going to throw it either."
Yeah. Well, and that was part of it.
Get me out of here.
We were told you're going to face Bob Gibson. We were all excited about it, and they said we want to give you a bit of advice. Swing at his He doesn't like batters who don't swing at his pitches. If that ball had been over my head, I would have swung at it because he still was throwing hard.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And smiling a little bit. Very quiet guy, very humble guy.
Yeah, he sure was. But today's games, like you notice, the Cardinals did not play yesterday, but they do host the Orioles today at 6:45. The Rangers are at the White Sox at 6:40, and the Cubs again will be in Arizona. It was only 108 outside the indoor stadium in Arizona yesterday.
Little balmy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Balmy.
108.
But inside,
Inside was air conditioned.
in
Probably
that,
75.
can you imagine what kind of AC units they have
Oh,
to keep a huge stadium air conditioned?
yeah. I know this. I wouldn't want to pay for the
And
first 10 minutes.
and people are worried about data centers.
Yeah. Well, out there they have evaporators. They just the air is so dry. They put water in the air, and by it evaporated, it cools.
Yeah. What do you do in the C-130? You have an AC system.
Oh yeah, we got a great one. It's
What do you do? Roll the windows down?
Yeah, well, you can do that, but it gets a little windy in the cockpit.
Put your head out.
Yeah, you stick
Hopefully
like
there
a
ain't
dog. Yeah,
Yeah,
birds going by.
and bugs on your
Oh, yeah.
goggles.
Bugs on my teeth.
Yeah.
Well, I got some off-the-field NFL news that I thought was
Oh boy.
at least worth reporting. It was in the news, and I confirmed it. The San Francisco 49ers owner, Jed York, was arrested on a suspicion of
Billionaire
engaging in
owner.
prostitution in Ohio.
Yeah.
Billionaire.
Billionaire, no question. I mean, you
So
can't,
what was he charged with?
engaging in prostitution in this.
Now,
in
what
Ohio.
do we mean by engaging?
Well, it means
This
he
is a family
probably
show,
offered.
Roger.
It
Well, I thought
Imagination.
And
maybe he
my-
was a ticket seller.
Oh, there you go.
You know,
Yeah.
do
He was-
you have a
it
ticket,
was,
sir?
It was a sting, supposedly.
yeah,
They
yeah.
said.
It was
And
a sting,
well,
and he got stung.
He got stung, and he gonna get stung again when he goes home.
Now try to, you know, we've had a nationwide, if not a worldwide, trial about a woman who killed her 3 children, a woman that did that. Terrible. Whether she was sane or insane is immaterial as far as I'm concerned. The children are dead. But here you have a case where a guy's got all the money in the world.
Got everything. He's got everything.
And why would you get involved? It's kind of like, what was the guy that had the island that everybody was flying
Jeffrey
to?
Epstein.
Republicans,
Yeah,
Democrats,
Epstein.
Independents,
Yeah, Epstein.
communists, socialists. They all, you
Everybody
know.
had money.
Yeah.
What was the slogan for the island? We'll leave the light on for you, and it'll be a red one.
Was it red? Was it red?
We'll leave a red light on for you.
Yeah. Well, anyway, the charge was reduced to a misdemeanor, disorderly
Of course,
conduct
yeah.
charge as part of a plea agreement.
Who
York-
was the judge named Steve Kouri by any chance?
No, he was not.
Okay.
No.
All right, I just
York
wanted to-
pled no contest and paid a $1,150 pocket change fine.
They hit him hard, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. He's
1,000
probably not going to eat for a
1,000
week
Yeah,
now.
oh, yeah. He's going to have to eat at a McDonald's.
I don't know
now.
what the 49ers are worth, but I know that the Los Angeles basketball team, the Lakers, was just sold for $12 million. The group bought it for 10
Not
a year and a
billion.
half ago.
Billion.
Yeah, I
Billion,
said.
yeah.
Yeah, excuse me.
They were hit hard. I don't think you have this in the story. The name of the team is now San Francisco 48ers.
48ers. That's right.
They had to sell one off.
Yeah.
But
they
now I want to
lost
make sure.
$1
I
billion.
want to be fair now because
Okay.
they did slap the wrist a little bit harder, but he was ordered to serve 1 day in jail
Ooh.
for each of the 2 charges.
Oh boy.
Oh, wow. Can you imagine? He's going to have to eat prison food for 2 days.
I bet he'll get.
You know,
somebody might
can
slide him a
Can you hear
Whopper.
the jailer say this way, Mr.
Yeah.
What's his name?
York.
Mr. York, Mr. Moneybags, this way.
Hey, I'll
By the way,
get-
do you have any tickets, season tickets for it?
I could walk out and get you a big Whopper
yeah,
from
exactly, yeah.
Burger King, the two-fisted.
You
burger.
think that isn't going on? You're not smoking.
Yeah.
Hey, real quickly, I want to give the high school football for this coming week. Last week there were some big games and some upsets, but Peoria High, which got beat last week, they got to travel to New Lenox, Lincoln Way West.
Is that up by Chicago?
Joliet area, yeah. And Notre Dame will be at Richwoods. Richwoods coming off that big upset win over Peoria High. Normal Community, which is a very good team, will be playing Manual at the stadium. Dunlap is at Rock Island. That could be a pretty good game. East Peoria is at Springfield Lamphere. East Peoria is pretty good. They really are.
Yeah, they are. They've turned the corner, haven't they?
They've turned the corner. They've won 4 games each of the last 2 years, and I think they won 5 this year. Cahokia is at Metamora. I saw that. Metamora got a nice 10-0 shutout win up at Sterling last weekend. Taylorville's at Canton, and Canton won their first game of the year last year. They've been down a little bit, so I'm going to go with Canton again this week. Limestone's at Galesburg, going with Galesburg. Limestone's still struggling. Chicago Heights, Marian Catholic. You don't want to play them.
No.
They're at Morton.
Oh, boy.
I'm going with Marian Catholic.
Yeah, because they can recruit anywhere. They don't have to live in the.
And they do.
Their district is the Midwest.
And they do.
Yeah. Joliet Catholic for years and years have been a powerhouse at football.
Yeah.
To Iowa, to Indiana, to Wisconsin.
Yep.
I've seen their roster. We played against them a number of times when I was at Richwoods. And
Look like the Bears.
it was,
Yeah. Well, they're not that bad.
Well, okay.
They've got so many kids. That the offense goes to one end of the field and the defense goes to the other end. I mean, they're just. The benches on the benches.
Yeah.
Nobody plays both ways.
Wow.
They're just. They're
You don't have that luxury at a lot of the schools around here.
No effects.
Okay, anything else?
Well, we got Pekin got to go to Belleville East. They were nipped. They had they're a big 7A school and they got beat by a pretty good size school up. I can't remember exactly where.
Was it Hersher?
No, somebody beat Hersher.
A Limestone? No.
That was that Canton game, I think.
Okay.
Plainfield South, I think.
Plainfield South, yeah, up by Chicago again. They got nipped like 27, 26. But
Yeah.
we'll see what happens this week. They're at Belleville East, so good luck to the Dragons, not the Chinks anymore, but the Dragons. And that's sports on WAZU 90.7 FM in lovely Peoria.
It hasn't been the Chinks in 45 years.
45 years. But
Can you imagine, though, I grew up,
Oh, hey.
Woodruff played Pekin as Central did in East Peoria and so forth. Yeah. And they were always known as the Chinks.
Yeah.
And nobody, this is honest to God truth, nobody thought Chinks was a racist term until, some liberal came along and said, that isn't very nice. Right. And I understand when you look back on it, okay, yeah, that was not a good idea. But we didn't think evil or racist in that. Although, as anyone who has been around this area for a long time, Pekin was considered a racist town because there was an unwritten code that people of
got to get out by a certain
color
time.
had to be out of Pekin when the sun went down.
Right, yeah.
So they got
dark
rid
times.
of that. Yeah, they were not good times. You bet. All right, Mike Olson, a comprehensive report of sports this morning. Let's bring you up to date with our news headlines at the bottom of the hour. We'll start with the news with Terry, brought to you as a public service of Advanced Medical Transport in Central Illinois, a part of the region's healthcare network, staffed by a team of paramedics and EMTs, the men and women quickly on the scene rendering the best in emergency medicine. They also provide transportation from the hospital to the home safely and professionally with the famous AMT personal touch. Terry has our headlines. Terry?
Morton police were called to the FedEx facility at 500 East Highland Street shortly before 9:30 yesterday morning, where they found a man dead of an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound inside a vehicle. A weapon was recovered. Authorities confirmed there was no active threat or danger to the general public, but the emergency response by police coincided with a brief secure safety response by Morton schools. Meanwhile, they had a lockdown at Pekin High School after officials received a bomb and weapon threat via a swatting phone call. A swatting call is a fake emergency call made to police or to a school or business, forcing police into sending armed officers to a targeted location. It's a way of harassing someone or someplace. After a search of the school, officials determined the call was a hoax. There's been a shakeup at the Creve Coeur Police Department. Creve Coeur Mayor Fred Lang says the police chief, deputy chief, and an officer all resigned last Friday. No reasons were given for the resignations. Lang said Dale King has been appointed interim chief, replacing Justin Egan. Also gone are Dan Nelson, deputy chief, and Officer Dustin Ward. Woodford County Chief Deputy Dennis Dipsword reports the arrest of 6 people he says were involved in the indecent solicitation of a child for sexual purposes. The gang of 6 are from a number of cities, including 2 from Peoria, 55-year-old Richard Police and 31-year-old Michael Douglas Jr. Also charged was 79-year-old Stephen Rossi of Morton, 66-year-old Jeffrey Collier of Bloomington, 54-year-old Mark Stevens of Mononk, and 19-year-old Hayden Meeker of Villa Park. All 6 have been released until their trials. Prairie County prosecutors announced the arrest of 19-year-old Kamar Crabb on charges of physically abusing a 2-month-old infant under his care back in January. The infant suffered multiple bleeds to the brain and arm fractures, as diagnosed by emergency room doctors. No word on why it took 8 months for authorities to charge the babysitter with aggravated battery to a child. East Peoria Mayor John Call has announced he will seek re-election. Call said he's proud of the accomplishments the city has made under his leadership during the past 7 years. The election will be held April 6th of next year. The Supreme Court has ruled in favor of President Trump's decision to place restrictions on voting by mail. Trump has maintained for years such voting is vulnerable to cheating. 23 states sued to lift the executive order restrictions. They lost. And those are the headlines, Roger.
All right, how about a check of the weather brought to you by Morton Community Bank, founded in 1960. It has grown over the years, and today, it has 50 branch locations offering personal, business, and agricultural banking services with that well-known hometown feeling. You can look for the clock tower, and that way you'll know they have time for you, and they certainly do. Member FDIC. And let's see what Dan has the way in weather.
Well, this beautiful weather is going to continue today. Looks like it's going to be a high of, it's going to be sunny with a high of 81. Tonight it'll get down to somewhere around 66. It'll be partly cloudy. Tomorrow, sunny, breezy and warmer with a high at 86. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, sunny with highs in the low 80s. This is not August weather here for I don't.
But we'll take it. We'll take it.
I'm enjoying it. So, looking at current weather right now, the temperature's 61 and sunny.
Yeah, and the humidity is 96%. I have to say, when I got out of my automobile, I didn't feel humid. Did the rest of you feel it when you?
I didn't feel the humidity, but there was a low haze in the neighborhood this morning.
So I went out to my truck yesterday morning, early in the morning, and it was soaked.
It was.
A lot of fog out in the Richwoods area.
Mm-hmm.
All right, this segment of our program brought to you by Matt Wall, Certified Public Accountant, Tax Specialist with Gordon Stockman Wall. And Matt, a graduate of Bradley University, and doggone it, went to DePaul too.
Yeah,
but that's okay. He provides a broad range of accounting, auditing, management, consulting, and income tax planning, among other financial activities. You can reach Matt if you're having trouble financially or you want to avoid it. Give him a call today, 309-692-4030. Matt Wall. He's with Gordon Stockman Wall. I said, Matt, you can either look at it as being on the bottom of the ladder or in the cleanup position. Isn't batting number 3 and number 4? Four is. Now I have a question for you. I mean, you've been in coaching for many, many moons. The leading RBI hitter for the Chicago Cubs is Pete Crow Armstrong. If he's a leader in RBIs, what's he doing now leading off? That doesn't make sense to me, Coach.
Well, I think there's. I heard somebody talk about this when I was coaching, and I agree with it. If somebody gets to bat the one or two extra times, if you bat low in the order, you're only going to bat probably three times.
That is
And you remember doing that with kids in a batting order
Yes.
too. If you keep the same batting order, that the kids that get to bat first or second,
Get to bat more times.
usually the coach's kid and the assistant coach's kid, and the third guy is the girlfriend of the coach. Well, no, I got to stop there. But you understand what I'm saying. And I'm not. But that is sometimes talked about. But that kid will bat in the course of even a 15-game schedule, probably 12 to 14 more times.
That's a good point.
Because if somebody,
Okay, but are you more interested in driving in runs or more interested in giving the guy more at-bats?
Get that guy on base, too, so he's
you-
better chance of being on base
But
so somebody else can
you
knock him in.
Well, that's
the
true.
way the game is now with the home run, Schwarber leads off. Schwarber would have never batted first in our era. Never.
Yeah,
It was
right.
always a Nellie
Third or
Fox,
fourth, yeah.
a Louis Aparicio,
The guys
a
who were
Mike
fast.
Olson. You
The
understand
guys-
what I'm saying?
yeah.
Punching Judies.
Yeah.
Base hit, get on base, hit by pitch, walk, get out of the air. Your job is to get on base. It has nothing to do with getting a hit either.
But conversely, if I may, sir, disagree with you, one of the guys that is further down the lineup is Ian Happ, batting .211.
Yeah.
Until
Are
he
you
plays
kidding
the
me?
Cardinals, and then
Pardon?
until he plays the Cardinals, then he bats somewhere in the 800s.
And he hit a grand slammy last night.
Yeah, he's a Cardinal killer.
See the difference
Did
today.
he have a home run the night before? He had a grand slam.
Yeah.
But last night he got another home run.
Maybe they kind of run
That's
together.
okay.
But the big deal today is they really don't care. In fact, you'll watch a game sometime, they won't even show batting average. They'll show on base percentage. They know that people that have grown up with baseball have a hard time accepting this. It used to be called the Mendoza line. If you didn't hit 200, you were gone.
Yeah.
Now we got starters that don't hit
And they're
200.
batting 146,
That's what I'm
180.
getting
and
at.
so on.
Well, the shortstop for the Cubs was under 200 for
Yeah,
half the year.
Swanson.
Yeah.
He's out due to an injury.
Right.
His redeeming factor was he's
can play defense.
outstanding defensive
And he
player.
plays the one
He goes
position where
after.
that carries a lot of weight.
Matters, yeah.
You know, I have the feeling, I don't know about you, Terry, but I have the feeling Dan McDonough is a Cardinal fan.
You better know it.
Okay.
You better know it.
Yeah. I have a feeling. Let's see. And I'm a Cub fan, and
I'm a Cub
I
man,
won't hold that against you.
but I'm not a Bud man.
so we have 2 and 2.
All right, that's good.
That's pretty good.
And that's
Fair odds.
That's fair. Now, I wanted to bring up for this august panel this morning the term swatting. I didn't know for a long time what swatting meant, and now obviously I know. How'd that term get to be defined as calling up and making a false claim that somebody has a gun, in this case, or a weapon at Pekin
swatting,
High School?
yeah.
Wow.
To me, swatting in my era was when somebody hits you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When your
or
your parent-
you know,
your
you got a
parent was swatting the
mosquito
kids.
or a horsefly in your house.
Right, yeah.
But how that
Swatter
term
flies.
I
evolved? What do
assumed
you
to be
think?
because when they started, the SWAT teams
Yeah.
went. That was my
Yeah, that's-
assumption.
That's
that,
what I think too, yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
But yeah, and it's
Well-
kind of like it's a prank call, you know, like when you used to be years ago, you'd order a pizza for somebody and they'd show up at the store at
yeah.
the door, and well, I didn't order pizza.
I didn't order that.
Now we're bringing in. And what's frustrating is you're taking those professionals out of the system and dealing with something, and it takes them an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is, to determine that there's actually nothing going on and it was a prank.
You know, I used to think that was now that we have caller ID, if that was difficult to do.
Yeah, that's a
Do
good
they
point,
do
yeah.
it? Do they do it with the throwaway phones? Is that?
sure
But
some-
even when you buy a phone,
I would say the
you're
smarter
a matter
ones
of
do it that
record.
way, but there are probably still some that
Yeah.
do it where they're
And they're probably kids who don't realize that
That want the day off of
that can be
school.
traced. But you never hear or at least I don't recall seeing or hearing on the news that 15-year-old Bob Wilson was arrested for making a swatting call.
No, they don't usually do a follow-up of what happened afterwards. But
It's just like when police ask for your help to find a missing person, and then they announce
Well, we found him.
sometimes they found, and you'd like to know, well, where'd you find them?
Yeah. What
You know,
condition?
you
Garbage
wanted
can?
my
Yeah.
help,
Yeah.
and so I told you I thought that was at Bill's tap
Yeah.
in Creve Coeur, and which reminds me, where's Jerry Daughters when we need him as police chief of Creve Coeur?
Yeah.
I think the resignations in the police department have something to do with that officer in the department that's been charged with murder.
Right. Yeah.
Otherwise, you know, when you have a wholesale, literally the police chief, the deputy chief, and an officer.
Right. There can't be that many when
yeah.
you're
I
I
talking
was just
about
going to
Creve
say,
Coeur.
how many are on the
And-
That's
actual
probably
police
half the
force?
force.
Yeah, and you know, people are nervous because the replacement is a guy by the name of Barney Fife and of Mayberry. That's be careful, Roger. Don't drive through Creve Coeur.
that's right.
Oh yeah, you're the clown that.
I've been ticketed going through Creve Coeur.
Yep. I think
When I was
I
about
think
16.
just about everybody has.
Yeah, Creve Coeur, was famous for it, but not as famous for the guy in Hartsburg
Hartsburg.
Hartsburg.
on the old 121.
Oh,
We've
yeah.
talked about that guy at one time or another, which does remind me. Were you ever in trouble for flying too fast?
The airplanes that I flew, well, the last one I flew, you didn't get in trouble for flying too
No, for
fast.
the
You get in trouble
C-130, yeah.
for flying too low.
Too low.
Yeah. We had a lot of people that swore that we bent their flagpoles and we knocked down
Oh, really?
the bushes around their house, and I'm come on, sir. Yeah. And part of my role later on in life was I had to answer all those what we called noise complaints. So they would call and they'd be frustrated, because we woke up their baby
Their
or something.
baby.
And
Are they that
the
small?
Yeah,
Really?
but so we would often say, this guy couldn't have been 50 feet above the ground. And I said, okay, the wingspan of that airplane is about 150 feet. So you're telling me, sir, that he was a third of his own wingspan? Well, he was pretty darn low. I'll tell you, he was probably, he's probably 200 feet. I said, he's probably 300, and that's legal for us. So, but you look at that airplane that big, flying at 300 feet above the ground, it looks very imposing.
I was
it's
going to say,
it's crazy.
it probably
It
looks
does.
like it's 10 feet off the ground.
Yeah, exactly, it does.
When
So,
a plane that,
but trust me, we're not hitting your trees. So
and it's when some of the planes fly low, or you talk about as we are this morning. I'm reminded of former Mayor Bob Lenhausen in World War II flew either B-17s or B-19s. I don't know what the
Probably
difference is,
B-17,
other
yeah,
than
yeah.
two.
yeah,
Yeah.
two extra.
But in order to escape German radar, and these were bombing missions, he said, in Italy, they were to fly low. I don't know how low is low, but he said it was not unusual after their bombing missions to come back, land, and go underneath to look at the underneath of the fuselage and pull corn stalks out of the bottom of the
pretty darn
plane.
low.
That's low for crying out loud. But if that meant that you were going to avoid,
You do anything when your life's on the line, right?
Exactly right. You'll pick beans from a soybean
that's
field
right, that's
for
right,
that
yeah.
matter. But I assume, particularly, I think you did fly into Iraq.
Sure, Iraq
more
and
than one
Afghanistan
time.
both, yeah.
And were your approaches low or high and then low because you wanted to avoid ground fire?
Well, it depended. When we first went in, we were very low to the point where
Like how low?
sometimes my mom listens to this, so I can't tell you, Roger.
Oh, okay.
It
was low.
It was low. I would say
Yeah.
there were times we were probably 75 feet, maybe
Oh, my
even lower than
goodness.
that. But and if you could,
You could reach out and touch that.
Oh
plane.
yeah. But if
You
it was,
think, anyway.
but again, this was Iraq, and Iraq was relatively flat. But the problem is there are dunes out there, so to be able to see a dune, a pile of sand, in the middle of the night on night vision goggles sometimes was difficult. And so during Desert Storm, when they went in initially, there was a whole lot of people were hitting the ground because we didn't train that way. But then we realized if we were up at an altitude what was safe, then the enemy could see us and they could shoot at us. So everybody, the fighters, all the heavy guys, we all came down very, very low, and sometimes guys were hitting the ground and killing themselves. So we eventually began training that way. We came back home and started training, and then it was much more, much safer.
Go up to the Michigan sand dunes.
Yeah.
Did anyone ever say, what was that we just hit? And one of the crew members said, it was Harry's hot dog stand.
Most of the time when you hear, what was that, you hit a bird.
Put a little mustard on it.
Hit a bird. And so you can imagine, again, the C-130 wasn't necessarily a fast airplane, relative to airplanes, but if you're going 280 miles an hour in the middle of the night wearing night vision goggles and you hear that's typically you hit a duck or a goose or something, and imagine you driving your Cadillac down, driving home today and hitting a duck. It's not going to do your Cadillac any good.
No. So the windshield is probably going to get.
Well, there are a number of stories about cars that hit deer, and sometimes the driver's killed.
Yeah.
Because the deer is a big.
Same thing with an airplane. If that bird goes through the windshield, most of the, I would say all heavy aircraft, their windshield panels are they're heated so that they're flexible. So if they do hit a bird, even like a sparrow can break the window. So they're flexible, and typically a bird will hit it and bounce off, but it could break one of the panes. And there's typically, on the airplane I flew, there were 2 panes of glass. But sometimes we hit a bald eagle, and it went right through the wing and caused enormous damage to the airplane. That airplane was down for months because it just tore. Imagine a big bird like that going. If I threw a bird at your car at 270 miles an hour, it's going to do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
But
how did you manage? Was it a plane you were flying?
I was not flying. I was in charge at the time, though.
You were on the plane?
No, I was the commander. Had to deal with the repercussions.
How does the pilot handle that? Because obviously, it's not a sound airplane at that point.
Well, so number one, you clean up your pants after you figure out what.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Anyone got a pair of underwear I can?
How about Depends?
Yeah. So you just assess what's going on. In that particular case, it hit the leading edge where they have a lot of hot air that goes the pneumatic system, the pressurized hot air, which was about 650 degrees, and they use that heat to take the ice off the front of the leading edge of the airplane. So once that bird went through that, and all that hot air starts blowing out, that it can literally melt the wing off. So you figure out, okay, what happened, and then there's gauges in the airplane that says our pressure has dropped, and so then you turn those systems off and immediately go towards a spot where you can get the airplane on the ground.
Yeah. Well, where'd that happen? What part of the world?
That was
in
here.
the sky?
That was very close to the Peoria airport.
Oh,
very
really?
close. I mean, within probably 10 miles of the airport, and it was a full, mature bald eagle. So, and then you run the problem of we just killed a bald eagle, which obviously didn't do it on purpose.
It's almost un-American.
Yeah, well, and so you come back and I've got a picture where this bald eagle's head is sticking out of the wing. And,
like he was a pilot?
Well, yeah. He wasn't doing much piloting at that point.
He looking around and said, Mabel, where are you?
Yeah, it was a mess. Yeah.
So. My goodness, what you guys experience in the air is just a
lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Have you thought about writing a book about your experiences?
I don't think so. Again, we have. When I look back, there was a lot of little, fun things, but the
fun things.
Yeah. So now I'm at the point where, matter of fact, today in 2 hours, I'm leaving to go to the airport where my son, he's in training as a pilot now. He's graduating Thursday, so we're leaving to go to Del Rio, Texas today.
Oh, that's terrific! Yeah,
and he graduates in 2 days. So very, very proud of him. So I'm going to be able to live vicariously through him
Through
and
you
continue
back,
to
yeah.
hear the stories of him. So
Like-
And obviously, he'll be telling you about some things that you can relate to, and maybe give him some advice.
it's certainly, and it's
Because you've been there, done that.
we've had quite a bit where I'm talking and I just look at my wife and her eyes are glazed over. She has no idea what we're talking in pilot lingo and jargon, and she just says, I think that's okay. And I'm like, well,
Is he okay? That's
well, yeah,
the key.
we'll let you know if things are getting
still
scary.
flying.
Yeah.
Beautiful day today, a high of 81, and I
Nice.
believe we are around, 58 degrees?
It's like 61 out there right now.
61 degrees right now. We'll be back after this pet tip of the day.
Today's pet tip is brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Pet lovers are dedicated to their animals, all species from horses to turtles and of course cats and dogs. If you are a pet lover, learn these little-known, somewhat amazing facts about your pet. As you are listening to my program today, I wonder how many of you are in the car driving somewhere with your dog. Maybe to the park, a quick trip to the store, or on your way home from a trip. Well, look around you. Where is your dog seated? Is he loose on the seat next to you, or in the back seat sitting between the kids, or worse, on your lap between you and the steering wheel? There are no laws requiring pets to wear a safety belt or harness when riding in vehicles, but as loving owners, it's up to us to ensure their safety. No matter how short the drive, our dogs are at danger just as we would be if we didn't wear our seat belts. Common sense dictates that we place our pets in the rear away from the driver. Then, when properly restrained, if a quick stop is necessary, Fido is safe on the back seat and not hurling into the dashboard. The skeletal makeup of our pets being thrown into the dash or off the seat onto the floor can very quickly cause broken bones or internal organ damage. A simple quick stop or slamming of the brakes is all it takes. In the event of an accident, airbags deploy with great force, and that combined with the force of impact can cause death. A dog left loose can be hurled into the driver or the occupants. If your dog is harnessed and clipped into a seat belt, he stands a chance of survival just like you. This whisker of information has been made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting in partnership with Spot, Saving Pets One at a Time, and KSBR Studios. Produced by Joseph C. McGuire and theme music by Stuardo Glasser.
Today's pet tip has been brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Well, that wraps up hour number one of Breakfast with Roger and Friends on WAZU FM 90.7 in Peoria, Illinois, and also on YouTube. Good to see everybody watching and listening on that platform. Coming up in the next hour, we're going to talk to another wonderful retiree, former judge. I don't know, Steve Kouri. Do you, once you're a judge, are you always a judge? I don't know. Well, we'll ask the judge. Here comes the judge, Steve Kouri. And we'll have fun with Steve. Neat guy. You'll enjoy listening to the Honorable Judge Kouri. Stay tuned on WAZU FM 90.7 in Peoria, Illinois. By the river gently flowing, Illinois. Remember singing that? everybody. We start on this Tuesday, the 25th of August, with a check of the weather, and the weather brought to you by Mr. Weather, Kyle of Arnold at Fortner Insurance. Kyle knows insurance. He can provide you with competitive quotes for auto, homeowners, life, and health. Don't renew your insurance without first talking to Kyle at 309-682-0519. And let's have a check of the weather with Dan McDonough. Do they still do? I remember years ago when somebody was starting a Piper Cub, they would say, contact! Do they do that now with C-130? Do you lean out the window?
Not with the C-130.
Do you yell out of the window? Contact!
No, we have a guy out front that's making sure that everything behind, because when we start those engines, you're going to blow stuff behind.
Everything
Oh,
away.
yeah, you don't want to be behind that thing. It gets pretty windy.
I could use that help when I cut my grass.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but my mower leaves clippings behind.
Yeah, well, it's designed to do that, right? But yeah.
Yeah, but I see my neighbor. He never has clippings.
Well,
He must have a mulcher on his.
yeah,
mower.
must be. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's blow away the people with this beautiful
This
weather.
incredible weather we're
Yeah,
having out
you
here.
bet.
Well, that beautiful weather we had pretty much for the last 4 or 5 days, still continuing today. It's going to be sunny with a high of 81 tonight, partly cloudy with a low of 66. Looks like tomorrow's going to be another beautiful day, sunny, breezy with a warm high of 81. A slight chance, about 20% chance of some showers in the afternoon. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday is going to be sunny. Just again, this beautiful weather continues with highs all weekend, or I'll make that through the end of the week in the lower 80s. Not your typical August weather, but I'll take every minute of it. Currently,
I love it, yeah.
61 degrees.
And humidity's still around 96%.
it's thick out
and
there
so
right
it's a
now.
little reminder it is, after all, August. And this portion of our news program brought to you by Steve Sink of PHX Affiliates, the largest downstate Illinois brokerage firm headquartered right here in Peoria. And Steve specializes in business mergers and acquisitions and business valuation. You get his expertise, his knowledge by calling 309-696-8508. Now, with our lead story, here's Dan.
Here we go. Morton police were called to the FedEx facility at 500 East Highland Street shortly before 9:30 yesterday morning, where they found a man dead of an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound inside a vehicle. A weapon was recovered. Authorities confirmed that there was no active threat or danger to the public, but the emergency response by police coincided with a brief, secure safety response by Morton schools.
Meanwhile, they had a lockdown at Pekin High School after officials received a bomb and weapon threat via a swatting phone call. A swatting call is a fake emergency call made to police or to a school or business, forcing police into sending armed officers to a targeted location. It's a way of harassing someone or someplace. After a search of the school, officials determined the call was a hoax.
There's been quite a shakeup at the Creve Coeur Police Department. Creve Coeur Mayor Fred Lang says the police chief, the deputy chief, and an officer all resigned last Friday. No reasons were given for the resignation. Lang said Dale King has been appointed interim chief, replacing Justin Egan. Also gone are Dan Nelson, the deputy chief, and Officer Dustin Ward.
Peoria's school district has failed to do an annual audit, so the board last night voted to hire a firm to do a check of the district's financials. No reason given as to why audits were not provided.
Woodford County Chief Deputy Dennis Tipworth, just make that Tips word, reports the arrest of 6 people he says were involved in the incident or in the indecent solicitation of a child for sexual purposes. Great people. The gang of 6 are from a number of cities, including 2 from Peoria. 55-year-old Richard Palese and 31-year-old Michael Douglas Jr. also charged were 79-year-old Stephen Rassi of Morton, 66-year-old Jeffrey Collier of Bloomington, 54-year-old Mark Stevens of Minook, and 19-year-old Hayden Meeker of Villa Park. All 6 have been released until their trials.
Peoria County prosecutors announced the arrest of 19-year-old Kamar Crabb on charges of physically abusing a 2-month-old infant under his care back in January. The infant suffered multiple bleeds to the brain and arm fractures, as diagnosed by emergency room doctors. No word on why it took 8 months for authorities to charge the babysitter with aggravated battery to a child. Crabb, in a separate case, has been charged with armed robbery.
East Peoria Mayor John Call has announced he will seek re-election. Call said he's proud of the accomplishments the city has made under his leadership during the past 7 years. The election will be held on April 6th of next year. So far, no one else has announced any interest in running for mayor.
Some people in the local media are running into each other over the price of gas. However, a check of stations in Pekin and Creve Coeur yesterday revealed prices lower than the pumps at Costco in East Peoria. That's unusual. The price, $4.09 a gallon. Such a deal.
Economic officials say gas prices tend to spike rapidly when the price of a barrel of oil goes up, but they decrease more gradually when oil prices drop. Yesterday, West Texas crude oil dropped 2% to $85 a barrel. By the way, the highest national average price for a gallon of regular gas during the presidency of Joe Biden reached an all-time record of $5.02. That was June of 2022.
You remember when you were doing that?
Yeah, I was driving to Springfield every day.
Every day?
Every day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I did it once a week, and that was bad enough.
That's a pretty good trip.
Yeah.
177 miles a day. It doesn't take long to burn through $5.02 a
Yeah,
gallon.
and you were driving a truck,
A
weren't
truck,
you?
yeah, the F-150. Yeah, they're known for their fuel efficiency.
Or inefficiency.
Oh,
Yeah, wrong term.
Yeah, exactly.
They're known for it.
Yeah, they're known for something.
The Supreme Court has ruled in favor of President Trump's decision to place restrictions on voting by mail. Trump has maintained for years such voting is vulnerable to cheating. 23 states sued to lift the executive order restrictions. They lost.
7:07 the time, and time for news from WCBU.
From the WCBU newsroom, I'm Jason Zahler. John Call is running for a third term as East Peoria's mayor. Call announced his bid for re-election in the April election this morning in a post on social media. He says the city has accomplished a lot by taking a common-sense approach and working collaboratively during his 7 years of leadership. Call says East Peoria is stronger, safer, and more vibrant today, and the city has been fiscally responsible with taxpayer dollars. Call ran unopposed in his first re-election bid in 2023. An environmental advocacy group says growth in energy-intensive data centers in Illinois is making it more difficult for the state to reach its renewable energy goals. Hannah Flath with the Illinois Environmental Council says the state is already behind its pace to reach its target to be carbon-free by 2050.
I think it's one of those things where we set that goal in 2021. We definitely did not expect that data centers were going to impact us in the way that they have over the last couple of years in particular.
The Environmental Council is pushing for lawmakers to pass the Power Act, a bill that would require data center operators to provide their own energy, all from renewable sources. 2 Peoria area organizations are receiving nearly $150,000 in state library grant funds to expand their adult literacy programs. WCBU's Joe Deacon reports.
Neighborhood House has been awarded $82,000, and the Peoria County Regional Office of Education is getting close to $67,000. Both offer adult literacy programs taught by volunteer tutors and trained educators. State Representative Jahan Gordon Booth says literary programs like these are essential to helping people improve reading proficiency to qualify for employment. The funding will allow each organization to offer more courses and dedicate more resources to educational tools. I'm Joe Deacon.
A charitable donation will provide special body armor for one particular member of East Peoria law enforcement. Police Department K-9 Luna is getting a bullet and stab protective vest, donated by the nonprofit organization Vested Interest in Canines. The custom-fitted vest will be embroidered in memory of East Peoria detective Bob Vester, who died earlier this year. Vested Interest has provided more than 6,600 canine vests nationwide since 2009. I'm Jason Zahler.
All right, let's get into the world of sports, and it's a Tuesday morning. That means Coach Mike Olson with the latest. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning to everyone. I'd like to give a shout out to a good friend by the name of Coach Russ Buchan. Russ is one of those grade school coaches that coached forever over at Metamora Grade School, and I got to know him, and I had she started in kindergarten, of course, and like all the kids do at that age when they're 5 years old or 6, and I knew Russ because of his experience of coaching JFL in Peoria, but at that time he was actually like the baseball and then the softball basketball coach at Metamora Grade School, and he says he listens to the program
Well,
regularly.
good for him. He shows good taste.
Russ
Yeah.
Buchan.
Russ, thanks for
He's a
joining
Peoria
us.
High School graduate, good friends with people like Bob Smith and some other people that have.
How's Bob Smith doing? by
Well,
the
you know,
way?
they honored him, and I wish I would have known about
I
it.
wish I'd known what
It
they
did-
honor him. What was the
Well,
occasion?
it was Manuel had an event where they had kind of a supper.
Well,
a
there's your
picnic.
answer. We went to Woodruff, so
Yeah, so
you
he's
know,
he
we're on
had-
the other side
and
of
he went
town.
to Central.
The other side of
But
tracks.
he ended up having a lot of success coaching down at Manuel.
Bob
back
Smith did, yeah.
Yeah, and
Sure, he went to Illinois. He was there at Illinois.
parlayed that
as
into
an
the Illinois
assistant
job,
coach.
but he was at Illinois twice even. And
Yeah.
was head coach.
Once under White, Coach White, was it?
Coach White, yeah.
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 And was he at Southern
He
Illinois?
was at Southern Illinois, but
And
he was
then
the head
in
coach
Missouri.
down at what they call SEMO, Southeast Missouri State. Yeah. So he had great career, but
And a nice guy.
nice guy, great guy,
Really great.
great guy to deal with. I know he helped when he retired from that and came back to Peoria. He actually helped us at Central, and just a very, very, very good man. He lives at Bueller Home with his wife now, and
A lot of neat people at Bueller. Boys, that place ever exploded. That's almost like the Villages.
it's like the Villages down, yeah. In more ways than one, I can tell you. My dad had 3.5 good years there.
He sure did.
It's as good as you can get, though. I don't care what anybody says, but you got
keep adding-
yourself what do you call it, a Lexus or something. I guarantee you.
They keep building
Additions,
additions to it.
right wing, left wing,
Yeah.
no wing, back wing,
Wing,
yeah. Parking lot. You can hardly
chicken
find-
wing. No.
Chicken wing, right. Well, hey, sports. Last night on the Major League Baseball Diamonds, the White Sox, who currently lead the American League Central Division, had a rough night. They got beat by the Texas Rangers 11-2. The Cubs, however, were just the opposite. The Cubs were in Arizona, and they won 7-0 over the Diamondbacks. The Cardinals were idle yesterday, and they will host the Orioles today at 6:45 down in the Lou. The White Sox will be hosting the Rangers at 6:40, and the Cubs will be in Arizona playing the Diamondbacks at 8:40 tonight. So good luck to those teams. NFL news was off the field yesterday. 49ers owner Jed York, San Francisco 49ers NFL team owner, was arrested on suspicion of engaging in prostitution in Ohio, probably near the Cleveland area, because I'm pretty sure I watched the Browns, Cleveland Browns, and the 49ers in an exhibition game.
So I heard it was quite a ways out in the country, like in a trailer park. They had it set up a sting that was about an hour and a half.
Are
out
you
in the country.
Is that right?
Really?
For $140.
$40, yeah.
It's like, seriously?
Come on now.
The charge was reduced to a misdemeanor, disorderly conduct charge as part of a plea agreement that Mr. York made. Yeah, York pleaded no contest. He was guilty, he felt, and he paid a $1,150 fine.
Boy, that was really a harsh penalty.
Yeah,
How dare they do that to that guy?
when you own a major league franchise, you're talking billions, and he
I understand prosecutors now have lifetime passes to all the 49er games now.
Yep. Fines and was ordered to serve 1 day in jail for each of the two charges. So he's got 2 days in jail.
There you go.
All right, he'll be.
Time to
You
be
know.
God,
over.
he didn't even miss the plane back.
You're probably right.
I think
He
ought-
probably wanted to miss the plane back.
yeah, you're right.
Honey, I won't be home. I won't be home for a couple days.
Well, his next game, I'm sure there's going to be quite a few
Oh,
signs
be quite a few
referencing
signs.
his activity
You
Yeah,
gotta live
yeah,
that
yeah.
one down.
from Las Vegas. Yeah.
And then I'd like to also give the high school football for this coming weekend. Richwoods, I better get the right one. That's the one from last week. Okay, week two. Week two, Peoria High will be at New Lenox, Lincoln Way West. That's right around the Joliet suburb. Notre Dame is at Richwoods. That'll be played at Richwoods High School, I'm sure. Normal Community is at Manual. That'll be played at the stadium. Dunlap is at Rock Island. East Peoria is at Springfield Landfair. Cahokia is at Metamora. Taylorville at Canton. Limestone at Galesburg. Chicago Heights Marian Catholic, one of the perennial state champion group out of the Chicago area. You got the Joliet Catholic and you got the Mount Carmel. Although, once again, there's that good team down in East St. Louis called East St. Louis High School, and they beat Mount Carmel they met. I thought it was a nice idea, so that somebody doesn't have to go 250 miles. They actually met and played on Friday night at the ISU facility.
Oh, that's nice.
And I saw some highlights of that. But Morton will have their work cut out for them, hosting Marian Catholic. I've seen Marian Catholic over the years. They're usually pretty stout. Washington goes to Troy Triad. That sounds like it should be down south somewhere.
Don't know where that's from.
Troy.
Well, there's a Troy, I believe, down around Alton area.
That's what I
isn't it?
think. Yeah,
Does I recall?
Yeah, Troy Triad down by the Alton area, and then Pekin also heads down south. They go to Belleville East, which is basically part of the.
There's an air base in
There is
Belleville.
Scott Air Force Base.
Scott
Yeah.
Air Force Base. Yep. And that's pretty much the sports on WAZU 90.7 FM in lovely Peoria, Illinois, on the YouTube network, care of
Yeah.
Roger and Friends LS.
LS, you got it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike.
Well, hey, that's, Monday I wish there was a little bit more action going on, but there really isn't too much. We did have the start of high school soccer yesterday, and I did see one Washington beat Richwoods, I believe, 1-0. It would be a very good match, I would say. That was out at the castle, just north of the castle.
Did you go there?
No, I did not.
All right.
I was.
Just
What
checking.
I had last night, I had the granddaughter was cheering in a JV football game at Metamora, so we rode over to Metamora and watched her perform.
And that's sports with Mike Olson on
Thank
this
you very
Tuesday
much.
morning. Too bad. We are enjoying wonderful, unseasonably beautiful weather.
August weather.
At this time of the year. And Dan McDonough as our regular co-host on Tuesday morning. How many years were you commander of the 182nd Airlift Wing, Dan?
Just over 4. I was out there from would have been, is that right? Yeah, 17 to 21.
Yeah. You know, we have a big trial with the Clancy one. What's her, Lindsay? Is it Lindsay
I think
Clancy?
so.
I think, and they're supposed to be wrapping up. And they also, the judge dismissed a motion. Somebody said something that the defense said, "Oh, it was a mistrial. I want a mistrial."
Right.
I don't understand why they want to end the trial and start a new one. And that'll be a good question to ask Steve Kouri when he gets here. You mean you want to start back on square one?
Start over
And
again.
I guess the idea is that prosecutors said, "Oh, we don't want to go through this again," so they can work out a better
Right,
deal
some
or
sort of
whatever.
deal, yeah.
But the big issue is in the field of psychology and psychiatry. And it came to mind, you have how many people at the air base in Bartonville?
On a typical drill weekend, right now they're between missions as they're converting from the C-130H to the C-130J, just the newer models. We've lost a few, so they're right about 1,150 out there.
You lost a few planes or a few
Well,
people?
we are actually
Yeah.
losing planes.
You're going to lose all your planes
all the planes are
eventually,
gonna
aren't
be
you?
gone, and then we're going to get new ones.
Well, since you kind of subtly brought it up indirectly, what's the component that you have available when you have a member of the 182nd or 169th say, you know what, I don't like what I'm doing, and I'm depressed, and I'm sure you have. I don't
yeah.
care how many
Yeah,
people you
right.
have, where you're working in the front office or the back office of Caterpillar. There are people with mental problems.
Right, yeah, sure. So we have, that's one of the things probably in my career that we started off when I was younger. You just toughed it out. That was just the way it was. And then we realized certainly all the folks that were coming back from the desert really struggling to
Really?
re-engage in society. So the military as a whole, all the branches went in, pretty much whole hog went into mental health specialists. And so we have a full-time mental health expert out there. Of course, we have our medical staff. We have chaplains, but on any given day, we have a licensed mental health expert that's out there that's free of charge for anybody to go, and they are they are much busier than you would expect. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised by it. I mean, I spent 2 years. I saw what happened. Yeah, it's kind of funny on the one hand, on the other hand, we all were empathetic. 2 weeks after I was in basic training at Fort Carson, Colorado, we had a guy crying in his bunk one night.
Yeah.
And it was because 2 weeks into the military, he had gotten a Dear John letter. 2 weeks,
right,
you know.
yeah.
And we tried to console him, and of course we all were armchair psychologists,
you
you know.
do everything,
But
yeah.
importantly, to the guy, he had somewhat of a support system.
Right.
But there was no, well, there was a chaplain, but nobody, they felt if you went to the chaplain, you were
Right.
not, as you said, gutting it out sort of thing. So it's kind of encouraged to hear what you say about the support system you had for mental health. Well, we're doing a lousy job in society.
I would agree, and there was a stigma too, where
Yes.
at some point nobody wanted to go seek help because, for one, it showed in quotation marks weakness, but it also sometimes they would say, okay, well, let's take you off the flying schedule for a minute, and let's figure, or let's not let you work on the airplane or whatever it was that you do for a living. Let's pause for a second. Let's get this thing fixed. Well, back when I was younger, that just meant we're going to pause for the rest of your career and you go find something else to do. Now, because of that, because at the highest levels, they determine we're going to get this person help, and if we don't, then no one's ever going to come forward again. So that there's a waste of all these programs
Wow, yeah.
if you don't take care of these people and put them on the bench and don't let them fly or work on the airplanes. There's no way that this program's ever going to work. So, and they do get great help. And again, if we have when our mental health specialist called director of psychological health, when that person says, okay, this one's beyond me, then we have opportunities for them to go seek even greater, more intense help in the community or whatever situation we have. They continue to ramp that up until they no kidding are feeling better. But
That's encouraging to hear, because the easy solution would be to say, you're just not a good fit, and so we're releasing you. And then he goes into society where he has no support whatsoever.
Exactly.
So what you're doing is trying to find a solution long term.
So one of the challenges that we have specifically to the 182nd is the challenge of only seeing these guys on drill weekend, if you will. So out there today, there's about 350 people that work out there every day. And so those people can go to the director of psychological health today if they wanted to, but that person that maybe works in the city of Chicago, and he or she only comes down 2 days a month. Well, that's a tougher nut to crack, because we have to be able to assess them in the 16 hours or 20 hours that we see them every month. You doing all right? Are you okay, man? Because you look like you're struggling. You're different than you used to be. So, So from a full-time, part-time perspective, that part-timer that we are still just as responsible for is really difficult to make sure that we're taking care of them mentally also. Yeah,
and I don't know when you started that program, but obviously it's been around for a few years.
Yeah, it's probably, I would say, well, actually, looking back, it's probably 15 years, maybe 18 years. Yeah, so
Well, that's
been around a while. Yeah.
That sounds good. It's I want to point out it's just a coincidence when we're talking about mental health and Steve Kouri comes in.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know whether
Well,
he came in.
He was kind of wandering
or-
around. So I
Yeah.
said, come on, I got a place to home.
Yeah.
There's a sign up there saying
Get
he's
on
not
that
supposed to be. I
microphone,
didn't want
Steve.
to
It's
get
good
in
to
trouble.
see you. Thanks for coming in. Grab that microphone. And
Pull it in a little bit. Yeah.
You want people to hear me?
yes, and
Hey,
we want
the
to say
price just went up.
a pleasant good morning to you, Steve. Thanks for coming
Oh,
in.
this is a treat. Oh, wow.
You know, I
Listen,
mentioned
you
this.
said 7:30, so
Yeah.
I've talked to your attorney, and he said you're on. When you walk in, you're on the air.
I can negotiate a
Well, wait a
deal
minute.
for you for these last 4 minutes. We'll get you paid better on this.
See, that's why he sends me to the restroom about 7:20 today. I make sure you get in here.
You know, speaking of, we were mentioning to Dan that through what he's been and the experience he's had and so forth, has anyone ever written, who has been a judge, a book about their experiences? Have you thought about doing that? No.
yes,
Yeah.
there have been books written.
Who?
I don't know.
Yeah.
And
That-
no, I've not thought about
Yeah.
writing
That
a
would
book.
be a great title for your book. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was paid to know, but I
Is
don't
he
know.
guilty or not? I don't know. Have you ever said that in the courtroom?
I've said I don't know the
Yeah,
answer
okay.
to this.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it shows your humor.
You know, the more experience I got, the less I knew.
So
So-
that's interesting.
It's a great point.
Yep.
If I could add to that, as a math teacher, I used to explain to kids, you know, there would be times I may not. The more that you learn, if a point on the blackboard shows how much you know, 1 point, you know, if you can increase that little point to maybe to be the size of 2 points, well, now you're starting to fringe on, you know, you went from algebra to geometry, and then geometry to secondary algebra, and then eventually trigonometry. You don't want to get near calculus, I guarantee you. If you hear the word calculus, just say, no, I'm not interested.
I thought it was a collection of things in your joint when I thought calculus.
Well,
was.
it's just, but what I'm getting at, the more you understand, you don't know.
Right.
What's the old saying that as I got older, how much smarter my dad
It's
became?
that same type of deal. You just
How'd you get, when did you make you're a native Peorian.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. When did you make the decision that you wanted to go into law, the practice of law?
You know, it was really a fluke. It was a fluke. It is so random, it's not even
Newsworthy?
believable. But
Okay.
but one day in high school, which I was not that good of a student in high school. One day in high school, first day of class, August, homeroom, the teacher said, write down what you want to be. I went to Peoria Spalding, which is downtown.
I believe that's a Catholic school.
Oh, yeah.
And I just randomly put lawyer. I didn't give it a moment's thought. And at the end of the day, I got called into the principal's office.
Which is pretty common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
And,
knew where it was.
and I must have been the only one that put lawyer down. And because I would have never been chosen for what the principal had to say. And that is, there's a law firm downtown that wants a runner after school to come and deliver papers and file papers and all that. Why don't you go in and interview? So I went in and interviewed, got the gig.
Who were the attorneys?
Vanack and Lawless, traders.
One of the top names. in there.
Yeah, and so I'm in high school, and I noticed, it's a true story, not that anybody cares, I noticed every Thursday afternoon everybody went out golfing. And I thought,
Hey, this is for me.
right,
Yeah.
I didn't even golf, but I thought I can do this.
Well, you go.
I could find something to do.
You could go to Wheatie.
Wheatie!
So I decided I wanted to go into law, and it was so fickle how that all unfolded.
Who was the principal? Was it Ron Dwyer?
It wasn't
No,
Dwyer.
sister, maybe?
It was gentleman by the name of Haley.
Ron Haley, I think his name was. He was
Haley's Comet, for that matter.
African American.
So where did you go to college?
I went to Creighton undergrad.
How'd you choose? You know that's in Omaha, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How did you choose,
You know,
of all
He
places,
was a
Creighton?
Cardinal fan.
Long story short, I went out with a friend, my best friend in high school. We both went on a visit without our parents or anything, and we had a great time over the weekend. And we decided.
I'm glad you put that disclaimer. Most kids don't get to make the first trip with their
And we
parents.
decided we would both go to Creighton. And
Good Catholic
my
college.
dad was not happy. But he
You went along with it.
he went along with it. He said it's
What
his
kind
life.
of work did your dad do?
My dad ran the Lariat, owned the Lariat Club.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
yeah.
right.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And so I knew if I didn't do well,
It'd be some.
I was coming home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Washing dishes and
and so I
You
did
were on
much
an
better
audition.
in college than I did in high school.
Yeah.
And
Because
then I
you
went
applied
to-
yourself.
Then I went to U of I Law School.
Wow, that's pretty good credentials.
The rest is history.
Well, the rest is history, and we're going to find out more about the history of Judge Steve Kouri, and thanks for coming in. In the meantime, we're going to break for the news and weather, as we typically do at the bottom of the hour on WAZU 90.7 FM. Chamberlain has the headlines brought to you by Bob Manning, a good Catholic boy, Senior Vice President Financial Advisor with the Gradview Capital Group at Morgan Stanley in downtown Peoria. For all your investment needs, give Bob a call. You can reach Bob Manning at 309-671-4653, Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, LLC, member SIPC. I do remember, and maybe you gentlemen and ladies can help me out on this, Bob was, at one point, not only a member of the Peoria Civic Center Authority, but I believe he was chairman. Did he not serve on the city council?
Bob Manning?
Yes.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He did 4 years.
That's what I thought he did, yeah. Super nice
Sounds
guy.
like you're
Super
in the
nice.
military when you say he did 4 years.
Yeah, he did for you. Yeah. I'm surprised you didn't come in with your black robe on, you know.
When you see Bob, you might tell him, hey, would you give a couple more bucks as your sponsorship so that,
Yeah.
because you did an extra, he got 8 more minutes. out
He's
of you.
retired. He's retired.
Yeah.
So, anyway, here's Terry.
Morton police were called to the FedEx facility at 500 East Highland Street shortly before 9:30 yesterday morning, where they found a man dead of an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound inside a vehicle. A weapon was recovered. Authorities confirmed there was no active threat or danger to the general public, but the emergency response by police coincided with the brief secure safety response by Morton schools. Meanwhile, they had a lockdown at Pekin High School after officials received a bomb and weapon threat via a swatting phone call. A swatting call is a fake emergency call made to police or to a school or business, forcing police into sending armed officers to a targeted location. It's a way of harassing someone or someplace. After a search of the school, officials determined the call was a hoax. There's been a shakeup at the Creve Coeur Police Department. Creve Coeur Mayor Fred Lang says the police chief, deputy chief, and an officer all resigned Friday. No reasons were given for the resignations. Lang said Dale King has been appointed interim chief, replacing Justin Egan. Also gone are Dan Nelson, deputy chief, and officer Dustin Ward. Woodford County Chief Deputy Dennis Dipsworth reports the arrest of 6 people he says were involved in the indecent solicitation of a child for sexual purposes. The gang of 6 are from a number of cities, including 2 from Peoria, 55-year-old Richard Police, and 31-year-old Michael Douglas Jr. Also charged were 79-year-old Stephen Rossi of Morton, 66-year-old Jeffrey Collier of Bloomington, 54-year-old Mark Stevens of Minonk, and 19-year-old Hayden Meeker of Villa Park. All 6 have been released until their trials. Peoria County prosecutors announced the arrest of 19-year-old Kamar Crabb on charges of physically abusing a 2-month-old infant under his care back in January. The infant suffered multiple bleeds to the brain and arm fractures as diagnosed by emergency room doctors. No word on why it took 8 months for authorities to charge the babysitter with aggravated battery to a child. East Peoria Mayor John Call has announced he will seek re-election. Call said he's proud of the accomplishments the city has made under his leadership during the past 7 years. The election will be held April 6th of next year. The Supreme Court has ruled in favor of President Trump's decision to place restrictions on voting by mail. Trump has maintained for years such voting is vulnerable to cheating. 23 states sued to lift the executive order restrictions. They lost. And those are the headlines, Roger.
You know, losing a pet affects just about everyone. The caring people at Peoria Pet Crematory know that. That's why they're available 24/7 to help you through the grieving process, offering several choices for care and remembrance. They're wonderful people at that. Peoria Pet Crematory, keep their phone number handy in case you will need their services. They're available at 309-713-1898. That's 713-1898. And Dan, you have the weather?
I do. The beautiful weather continues out there. Today's going to be sunny with a high of 81. Tonight it's going to be a little bit cloudy, partly cloudy with the low of 66. Tomorrow, sunny, breezy, and warmer with a high of 86. Slight chance of rain late in the afternoon. Thursday through Saturday, again, the sunny, wonderful weather continues. Sunny all 3 days with a high in the low 80s. Right now out there, 61, feels like 61.
Yeah, and not bad for this time of the year, for
beautiful.
sure. If you're just joining us, we're talking with retired Judge Steve Kouri, and longtime Peorian, and a great name with the letter K. Some have the letter C. I've asked you this before, I know, or many members of your cult. No, I mean your religion. Yeah. When is it a K and when is it a C?
You know, I just recently read where there's 800 to 1,000 in Central Illinois K or C quarries.
Wow.
And it's a great political base.
I was going to say a great voting block.
But the best version or story I've been told is that when they came over on the boat 100 years ago, some were told at Ellis Island it's with the K, and some were told with the C.
In other words, the people at Ellis Island had difficulty in spelling, for that matter. Well, let's talk about your career. You know, as a judge, you, as I understand, judges handle different aspects of the law. Divorce, maybe traffic court, criminal, inheritance, etc., and so forth. What are the different categories that, and where did you start? Did you start in traffic court? Or did you have a high-profile murder case in the beginning?
No, I was like the 12th man on the bench on the
11-man team.
Yeah.
And don't feel bad. We've all been there.
But I thought I should be in the game,
Sure.
the star.
Yeah.
So I was always pestering my chief judge at the time, John Barra, put me in felony court in Peoria.
So that's a court felony.
Yes.
Right. And
That was
felony
the
is
big
what?
case.
Anything
That's the dream
500 over 500? Is that the measuring
That's anything
stick?
that can be a crime that can be sentenced to a year in prison
Okay.
or more,
Oh,
up to life. But anyway, John Barra was a great chief judge, very smart, and he didn't put me in felony court. He started me in misdemeanor court, which is any minor crime that can be sentenced to up to a year in the county jail.
Okay.
Okay.
So I did
That's
2
good for-
years of
You
that.
did 2 years of that. So then you graduated?
Then I graduated and went to 2 years to divorce court. Then I went 2 years to civil court, which is pretty significant because that deals with medical malpractice trials,
Ooh, yeah.
which we have a lot of. Not because we have a lot of medical malpractice, but because we're the downstate center in the medical industry.
The medical complex.
And so you deal with significant civil cases, car accidents, things like that. And then finally, in year 7 and 8, I got felony court in Tazewell.
Yeah, and how did they determine what court, Tazewell or Peoria? Were you ever assigned to Woodford County? Is it just Tazewell and Peoria?
It's Tazewell, Peoria, Marshall,
Marshall.
Putnam, and Stark. So not Woodford. It's kind of odd that Woodford is carved off into a different.
Well, they're a different animal.
Yeah.
One way or the other. One question I've always wanted to ask a judge, and I may have asked, I'm having a hard time getting a former state's attorney, I won't turn judge, who's now retired, to come on the show.
He's not an early morning person.
There's the answer to that. Neither am I, but I'm able to make it. But I've always wanted to say, I've watched judges, and he's one of them I noted, that on television, video clips during the news of some time. And I've seen this person, and want to know if you have experienced nodding off.
No.
You never did nod off.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
And the trial you're talking about.
Yeah.
But no,
Isn't it hard, though? I mean,
It's gotta
seriously.
be.
Because listening is an art. Few of us have that, particularly a couple in this studio. And I'm one of those.
I'm right here, Roger. Come on.
Is that listening? I took a course from the late Dr. Larry Norton, and it was listening. And most of us are not very good at listening. So for a judge to sit there hour after hour and stay awake, do you take no dose or you drink a lot of coffee?
it really, when I speak to Rotary or some other organization, I start off by saying, I got the world's greatest job. And I've always been interested in what was being said. It's reality TV, and you go into felony court, if you're nodding off, there's nothing that you're interested in in life, because felony court, the popular shows are Law and Order and the criminal shows. I don't watch them because I would see it every day in court.
You saw it, and it wasn't a
Live and in person.
a series and so forth. And how do you deal emotionally and psychologically with seeing and hearing some of the worst of society?
That's a hard question.
It is hard, though. I mean, Steve, you're a nice guy. People like you. You got a great personality and so forth. You know right from wrong. You're dealing sometimes with some really bad people. We've got 6 people charged with dealing with young girls. One guy's 79 and another's 59 or whatever.
And then you got a 19-year-old.
The 19-year-old, they're still learning, but at that particular, the older age, you should know better. I mean, you should be beyond that level. So these are innocent until proven guilty, by the way.
I had a harder time. I quit counting after 25 murder cases. I just quit counting them. But I had a harder time with the sex abuse on minors than I did with the murder cases.
Yeah. I can. Because I always say that, if it was your daughter or your son, how, I mean, it just, I agree with what you're saying.
I had a case where a girl was adopted and sexually abused by the adopted father. She was in foster care and all that. And she's testifying, and it was rough. And I looked down at her, and I had never heard of this before. She had cuts.
Oh, the cutting.
She was a cutter.
Yeah.
She had tried to harm herself.
Wow.
And it's ugly, ugly stuff.
It is tough to deal with it, and for the average person, and I'm among the average, the thing that really upsets me terribly are cases where children have been physically and emotionally
Just like
abused.
the
I know there's
19-year-old,
one particular case
2-month-old.
where, not that one, but this child weighed, was I think 10, 11 years old and weighed like 35, 38 pounds. And that struggle for me to listen to it and realize that more than the people where that child lived, relatives, neighbors, school teachers, others were, in my opinion, complicit, but they never are. So how as a judge, when you see it, don't you raise questions with prosecutors, defense
How did we
attorneys, and
get
say,
here? How did
how did you all ignore this until the child was dead?
You know, you're exactly right. Oftentimes, first of all, it doesn't, that we know of, it doesn't happen that often, fortunately. But oftentimes, it is uncovered before there's a death. And it is a social worker, a school teacher, a neighbor that says something.
Yeah, that finds out. Well, I don't want to be morose and get depressed over your great career with this subject matter. Do you recall any funny things or things that brought laughter in the courtroom or in the judge's chambers? And by the way, here's another interesting question. How many times have you called attorneys into your cloakroom or your office to maybe admonish them or say, hey, look, this thing is dragging, and I've got an appointment at a hot dog stand in an hour from now. Can you wrap things up today? Have you done that?
You know, I've done it, but I have not for those reasons.
Oh, good.
But I
like
haven't
the
done,
disclaimer.
I haven't pulled them back into chambers. I just tell them in front of their.
In front of God and country.
Yeah. Let's go, guys.
Yeah. Now, you're retired now, so I know you can answer the questions. Who were the attorneys you liked least?
Oh, boy.
No, I'm just kidding.
There are two. But you know what? They didn't like me either.
Yeah. You know, that reminds me of the time I said to Royce on the air, I said, Royce, we've known each other for a long, long time, and I don't mind telling you, I never liked you.
Right.
And he said, what a coincidence.
Only Royce.
So when you were talking about the attorneys, it was kind of a mutual admiration society for
Well,
that matter.
see, the attorneys get an opportunity to bounce a judge one time
Oh, really?
in a case. So those attorneys who I didn't care for, there were roughly only two, they would bounce me. So
What does that mean?
they
What do you mean
would
bounce?
they would make a motion. We want a new judge, a
Okay.
different judge.
During the actual trial?
No, it's
Or-
right at the outset
Right.
when the case is filed.
In coaching, we have
And-
that same deal. We can
Oh, a referee.
referee, yeah, if you don't want
Yeah.
someone, you've had trouble, yeah, go
Well,
ahead.
you can't do it during the game.
No,
anymore. You can do it.
No,
in
that's
the
what I'm
middle
saying.
of a trial.
We get a scratch list we'd get a scratch
Sometimes
list.
they try to do it after they find out
Yeah,
he's not going to rule in our favor. It's too
late.
You have to do it at the outset.
I'm too late.
Isn't one of the most intimidating factors that you face as a judge is making sure the decisions you make, the rulings that you make, are not reversible?
Well, you don't want them obviously reversed. When you're in felony court and you have trials, and I did a lot of trials, they get an automatic appeal, free of charge. You know, they get a lawyer assigned to them. So they're found guilty and they automatically appeal, and there's a small percentage that get reversed. Oftentimes it's not because the judge did something. Sometimes it is because the judge did something wrong. But oftentimes the attorney may have said something or done something or didn't do something, didn't call a witness that he or she should have called. Oftentimes it's reversed because of what the attorneys do.
Are these typically jury trials or
Yeah.
are they bench trials?
You know, it's kind of in central Illinois, in Peoria County in particular, where we have a lot of jury trials in felony court, the lawyers want jury trials. They don't trust the judge to make the decision. Up in Chicago, Cook County, they do bench trials in front of the judge. The defendant gets its choice, jury trial or bench trial in front of the judge. But in Chicago, they do bench trials. And
What do you prefer? I'm assuming a
I
bench trial?
strongly prefer jury trials.
Jury, okay.
Because they have the hard part.
Yeah.
But I also believe that 12 people looking at it is more likely to get it right than one person. And it's important that you get it right.
Get it right.
It ever happened where you knew you made a mistake, and in all the time that you were in that position?
You know, the
Or
first
maybe you don't want to say that on the air,
the
huh?
first case I got reversed on when I was a judge a couple years in, I had sentenced a guy to 1 year in prison, and it was a unique set of facts, and he appealed. He was in prison, he appealed. He did his time, and they reversed me. And I read the opinion from the appellate court, and I thought, you know what, they're right. I did make that mistake. But the guy did his time already. So, no harm, no foul.
To you, maybe. No harm.
Yeah. Do you, as a judge, observe the jury to make sure people are listening, not dozing off, and so forth?
I say I'm fortunate. I've tried jury trials in all 5 of those counties I named, and some of them were very big trials. And we had a huge trial in Tazewell County. It's a similar issue of this trial that's going on now in the news,
Lindsay
where
Clancy.
postpartum depression and all that. A mother had killed her autistic child. This is in Morton.
I can't remember that.
It was a big case.
Yeah, it was.
And it was a 3-week trial, which is a long trial. And the courtroom was packed every day, spectators, everything. And I got a juror that's sleeping. And I called the lawyers up. I said, don't look now, but juror number 8 has been sleeping all day today during trial. Do you want me to get rid of him? Because we have alternates.
Right.
Who, you know, I had one alternate writing down every single word that was being said in court. And the attorneys are like, no, we're okay. You know,
Wow.
because they're afraid to do something that was unusual. And if they lose, they could be blamed on it, but we should have got rid of that juror.
Yeah. You don't know this, but we have a portion of a recording of you as a judge in a very profile case. And let's see, we're looking forward to hearing this case before Judge Kouri.
Is it possible the 2 youths... The 2 what?
That's the Kouri.
What was that word? What word? 2 what? What? Did you say youths? Yeah, 2 youths. What is a youth? Oh, excuse me, Your Honor. 2 youths.
Did you recognize you in that?
Utah. That's what I know.
I'm sure you had funny moments during your many years sitting on the bench, which also, when you talk about the bench, did you feel comfortable when, and how do you determine when a case is before the judge only and no jury?
Well, the defendant gets the choice.
The choice. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And in central Illinois, 99% of the time they choose a jury trial, which I'm good with.
You're comfortable with
Yeah.
that. Let the jury of their peers. Do you have a favorite judgeship show like Judge Judy?
You know,
or
I
any
don't
of those?
watch any of that.
You don't watch any of
No,
that?
I never
Because that's
have.
entertainment. That's not
Well, and
judicial proceedings.
I see it all day long.
Yeah, that's like playing a football game and coming home and watching a football game. Who wants to do that unless they're watching their team? And that's a different story.
I felt the same way, and I was an underclass football coach most of my career, and then eventually a varsity assistant. But and you would start almost after the game ends the week before. You know, I can remember walking around with kids. Now, hey, don't forget, we got by so-and-so this week, but we got Spalding next week, so we better be ready. Strap it up. You know, get home tonight. I'm a big sleeper, too, on the 2 nights before. Is the most important. You're not going to sleep. If you got a big something going the next day, you're not going to sleep real well. But 2 nights before is the most. And I've stayed up all night studying for a test. I'll get through one day, but the next day. But so what I'm getting at is you work hard all week to get ready to try to beat Spalding or whoever it might be. You have film, you got practice, you got coaches meetings, and then we have film on Sunday. You know, we have underclass games Saturday, film on Sunday. When I got home Sunday afternoon, I've never been a big pro football fan. And there's nothing against it, but you know, everybody loves pro football. Yeah. But I wanted to kind of have a nice sandwich and sit down and enjoy the day. But like I said, I can really appreciate what you're saying there. That nothing against it, but now college, I like the college football because I couldn't watch that for some reason because I was always busy with something else.
In your career, as you became more and more experienced, did you have a mentor? Did you have someone that you would turn to for advice or influence your career in law?
When you first become a judge, they assign a veteran judge to mentor you. And
who was that? Who was
my mentor was assigned to me was Joe Vespa.
Joe Vespa, really.
And
great
personal friend.
And we met once a week for a year, and he was a great help to me. And I've been a lifetime friend in our adult lives with an appellate court justice by the name of Bill Holdridge. And we would talk once. Neat guy. We would talk a lot on the phone.
I would say he was not from Peoria, was he?
Farmington.
Farmington. Yeah. I kept thinking of Fulton County.
Yeah,
but
right.
Farmington.
Right.
Any cases that you want to mention that caused you maybe some sleepless nights? And did you ever have sleepless nights?
Yeah, I had a few. You know, when you do the sentencing, it's a tough call. You know, murder cases take care of themselves. I mean,
what do you mean by that?
Well, the minimum is usually 40 years. I mean, 40, 50, 60, you pick a number.
Yeah.
But I would struggle a lot with, do I send this kid to jail for 6 months or a year, or do I give him another round of probation? Because once they do time and can see that they can do the time, sometimes it just takes them.
Go to a really dark place or really
right,
bad.
and they're around people that maybe you don't want them to be around.
Right, that's the risk. Sometimes they're worse off.
That'd be my biggest concern.
When they come out than when they went in.
So I would agonize over those type of cases.
Wow.
And how many times do you feel you were in a situation where the person did bad things primarily because they were on drugs? And you worry,
countless,
thousands
of times.
Yeah. And the benefit of going to jail on the one hand is, in all probability, the 90%, if not 99% of the time in jail, they're not going to get into drugs, and maybe a jail term is better than going through rehab. Because I know of cases where people were given a choice, go to jail or go into rehab.
I would tell them, you get yourself cleaned up, or you'll do my rehab, and that's going to go to jail. So,
Did you ever use the military?
you hear about that a lot, but it came up one time, and the attorney said, if you dismiss the case, the defense attorney, if you dismiss the case, he'll go into the military, but he's got to get the dismissal first.
Yeah.
And
Boy, that's a tough decision.
but I went with it.
You went with it.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Obviously, this is a career. Did you find that you enjoyed, by your own admission, did you find it tough to make the decision to retire? Because you're in good health, and
It was very difficult.
and you liked what you were doing.
I thought about it, no exaggeration, for 6 years, whether I should retire. And I changed my mind every other week, I'm going to retire next month. No, I'm going to stay here for the rest of my life. It was going back and forth. I got tired of thinking about it. So I just said, I'll try it. I'll try retirement.
How's it working out?
So far, so good.
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 Tell us about
deserve
tell us about Stevie.
My son
Yes.
is doing great. He went to law school. He's got a disability and challenges, but he meets his challenges and overcomes them. And he works for the state of Illinois in the Human Rights Department. And
Nobody is more qualified to sit on that than Stevie.
and
He's a good man.
It's a panel that deals with discrimination cases, and he just got voted vice chairman of the panel of the commission.
Good for him.
So
That's
he's
wonderful.
doing good.
Tell him congratulations.
You, if my memory serves me right, and I'm not on Prevagen, but I probably should be, you were on the city council for at least one term, were you?
4
not?
years. I did my 4 years.
He did his 4 years.
That's enough.
Have you thought about doing that? I mean, you're still a young guy, and you're actively involved in the community, and Peoria would benefit by having you on the city council again.
On my way over, I was hearing the conversation. I had the show on. And I think Mike or somebody said, when you're retired, don't do anything for a certain period of time.
Yeah,
And that's where I'm at.
that's what somebody told me, and like I said, I
failed
goofed up too many
miserably.
times.
My plan is not to have any plans.
That's
now.
right. No, I like that. No,
Well,
'cause
do you have any plans to stick around a little bit?
I can stick around
All
a
right.
few more minutes.
All right, because we're going to break.
I'd like to hear the news.
And
You want to read the news?
it's pretty negative most of the time.
that's good, man. Yeah, why don't you take over, Steve? I'm going home because I didn't sleep well. I didn't sleep well. Yeah.
I'd love to sit in that chair.
Well, we're going to give you that chance coming up. So stick around.
On TV, too.
We're talking to retired Judge Steve Kouri. Don't go away. Breakfast with Roger and Friends continues on WAZU FM 90.7 and also on YouTube worldwide. Everybody, it's 8:04 and time for news, weather, and sports at the top of the hour. And we begin with a check of the weather presented by Advanced Medical Transport, the premier provider of emergency and scheduled ambulance service in central, western, and eastern Illinois. There are more than 500 AMT employees, men and women, dedicated to offering and providing the best in health care, and they certainly do. Saving lives is what they do. With the weather, here's Dan McDonough.
Well, Steve could probably tell us better than we can. The windows in here are kind of foggy, but looks like the weather's going to continue to be beautiful out there, sunny all day with a high of 81. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low of 66. Tomorrow, sunny, breezy, and warmer with a high of 86. Got a 20% chance of some showers later in the afternoon. Thursday through make that Thursday through Saturday going to be sunny with highs in the low 80s. Loving it out there right now, looking at 61 degrees with a feel like of 61 degrees.
And humidity around 96%.
That's it.
You got it. All right, now the news brought to you by Sam Lilly and Associates, providing a range of insurance products, including personal auto, home, life, and medical coverage. And Sam specializes in Medicare plans and options. That's something he's been doing during his 40 years in the business. Sam Lilly, he knows insurance, and his phone number is 309-245-4374. Now the news.
Morton police were called to the FedEx facility at 500 East Highland Street shortly after, or before 9:30 yesterday morning, where they found a man dead of an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. The weapon was recovered. Authorities confirmed there was no active threat or danger to the general public, but the emergency response by police coincided with a brief secure safety response by Morton schools.
Meanwhile, they had a lockdown at Pekin High School after officials received a bomb and weapon threat via a swatting phone call. A swatting call is a fake emergency call made to police or school or business, forcing police into sending armed officers to a targeted location. It's a way of harassing someone or someplace. After a search of the school, officials determined the call was a hoax.
There's been quite a shakeup at the Creve Coeur Police Department. Creve Coeur Mayor Fred Lang says the police chief, deputy chief, and an officer all resigned last Friday. No reasons were given for the resignations. Lang said Dale King has been appointed interim chief, replacing Justin Egan. Also gone are Dan Nelson, the deputy chief, and Officer Dustin Ward.
Peoria's school district has failed to do an annual audit. So the board last night voted to hire a firm to do a check of the district's financials. No reason given as to why the audits were not provided.
Woodford County Chief Deputy Dennis Tipsward reports the arrest of 6 people. Here he says were involved in the incident. I keep saying that, indecent
I know you were worried
solicitation.
about
Yeah,
that sheriff's name.
yeah.
I would be worried too.
Well, these folks were involved in indecent solicitation of a child for sexual purposes. These are some fine individuals.
Yeah.
The gang of 6 are from a number of cities, including 2 from Peoria. 55-year-old Richard Pelise and 31-year-old Michael Douglas Jr. Also charged were 79-year-old Stephen Rossi of Morton, 66-year-old Jeffrey Collier of Bloomington, 54-year-old Mark Stevens of Minonk, and 19-year-old Hayden Meeker of Villa Park. All 6 have been released until their trials.
Peoria County prosecutors announced the arrest of 19-year-old Kamar Crabb on charges of physically abusing a 2-month-old infant under his care back in January. The infant suffered multiple bleeds to the brain and arm fractures as diagnosed by emergency room doctors. No word on why it took 8 months for authorities to charge the babysitter with aggravated battery to a child. And Crabb, in a separate case, has been charged with armed robbery.
East Peoria Mayor John Call has announced he will seek re-election. Call said he's proud of the accomplishments the city has made under his leadership during the past 7 years. The election will be held April 6th of next year. So far, no one else has announced any interest in running for mayor.
Some people in the local media are running into each other over the price of gas. However, a check of stations in Pekin and Creve Coeur yesterday revealed prices lower than the pumps at Costco in East Peoria. In Pekin, the price was $4.09 a gallon. Creve Coeur, it was $4.05. I heard from a listener. What a deal.
Yeah. Economic officials say gas prices tend to spike rapidly when the price of a barrel of oil goes up, but they decrease more gradually when oil prices drop. Yesterday, West Texas crude oil dropped 2% to $85 a barrel. By the way, the highest national average price for a gallon of regular gas during the presidency of Joe Biden reached an all-time record of $5.02.
And you said you were paying that.
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were all paying it. I just had to do
Yeah.
it more often.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got hit harder.
I got hit harder.
You
than everybody
needed a
else did.
home office in Peoria, not in
I
Springfield,
certainly did.
for that matter.
Yeah.
All right, that's a look at some of the stories we're following this morning on Breakfast with Roger and Friends. And we continue with news from WCBU.
From the WCBU newsroom, I'm Jason Zaylor. John Call is running for a third term as East Peoria's mayor. Call announced his bid for re-election in the April election this morning in a post on social media. He says the city has accomplished a lot by taking a common-sense approach and working collaboratively during his 7 years of leadership. Call says East Peoria is stronger, safer, and more vibrant today, and the city has been fiscally responsible with taxpayer dollars. Call ran unopposed in his first re-election bid in 2023. An environmental advocacy group says growth in energy-intensive data centers in Illinois is making it more difficult for the state to reach its renewable energy goals. Hannah Flath with the Illinois Environmental Council says the state is already behind its pace to reach its target to be carbon-free by 2050.
I think it's one of those things where we set that goal in 2021. We definitely did not expect that data centers were going to impact us in the way that they have over the last couple of years in particular.
The Environmental Council is pushing for lawmakers to pass the Power Act, a bill that would require data center operators to provide their own energy, all from renewable sources. 2 Peoria area organizations are receiving nearly $150,000 in state library grant funds to expand their adult literacy programs. WCBU's Joe Deacon reports.
Neighborhood House has been awarded $82,000, and the Peoria County Regional Office of Education is getting close to $67,000. Both offer adult literacy programs taught by volunteer tutors and trained educators. State Representative Jahan Gordon Booth says literary programs like these are essential to helping people improve reading proficiency to qualify for employment. The funding will allow each organization to offer more courses and dedicate more resources to educational tools. I'm Joe Deacon.
A charitable donation will provide special body armor for one particular member of East Peoria law enforcement. Police Department K-9 Luna is getting a bullet and stab protective vest, donated by the nonprofit organization Vested Interest in Canines. The custom-fitted vest will be embroidered in memory of East Peoria detective Bob Vester, who died earlier this year. Vested Interest has provided more than 6,600 canine vests nationwide since 2009. I'm Jason Zaylor.
Everybody, it's time for sports. It's a Tuesday morning. Our sports guy is ready with scores and stories. Mike Olson, what do you have for everybody, Mike?
I'm ready to go, and put me in, Coach. Anyway, Major League Baseball last night, the White Sox, who are leading the Central Division in the American League, had a rough night. They got beat by the Texas Rangers 11-2. The Chicago Cubs, on the other hand, were very successful. They shut out the Arizona Diamondbacks down in Phoenix area, 7-0. They were as hot as the weather was down there, 108 outside, but a nice 72 degrees at the indoor facility. Can you imagine 100?
I've been in that.
Yeah, have you? It's beautiful, beautiful stadium. Today's games, the White Sox, the Rangers and White Sox will go at it at 6:40. The Orioles and Cardinals will play the Orioles at 6:45, and the Cubs will be in Arizona again at 8:40. So good luck to our local teams. I call them the local Major League Baseball teams, the Sox, the Cardinals, and the Diamondbacks.
No, not the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
The Cubs.
Yeah, the Cubs, yeah. Thank you very much.
I'd like them to go away. But
Right. No.
The Cubs are still.
Maybe we need to talk to HR about this.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to each
You
other.
see who's going away. Roger gets one vote, so
Yeah.
Might not be the Cubs.
it might not be the Cubs. NFL news was off the field yesterday. San Francisco 49ers owner Jed York was arrested on a suspicion of engaging in prostitution in Ohio. I'm pretty sure that the 49ers were in Cleveland about a week ago playing an exhibition game, so he probably got in trouble there. The charge was
Yeah, that's what was happening.
the charge. Yeah, they lost. The charge was reduced to a misdemeanor, disorderly conduct charge as part of a plea agreement by York. York pled no contest and paid $1,150 in fines and was ordered to serve 1 day in jail for each of the 2 charges. And then he had to go home and face the real charge.
Yeah.
Probably, could you keep me for another week? I don't want to go home real fast.
I imagine he found some things on the front yard.
Yeah, you bet you're
In
right.
fact, he's probably saying it might be a little lonely
Did I
there
get
tonight.
30 days instead of 1?
1 day, yeah. Well, that seems like an odd request, sir.
What would it
Well,
take,
no.
Judge? Come on, help me out.
Help me out here. Maybe she'll get a little less. Anyway, Peoria High School football, so great games last weekend, and now we head to week 2. Peoria High, upset by Richwoods last week, is traveling to New Lenox, Lincoln Way West, up in the Joliet area this weekend. Notre Dame is at Richwoods Stadium. Normal Community will be on the road playing at Peoria Stadium against Manual. Dunlap goes to Rock Island. East Peoria goes to Springfield Lanphier. Played in Memorial Stadium down there in Springfield, right by Lanphier High School and right by the Robin Roberts baseball field in Springfield. A nice setup down there.
Tell everybody who Robin Roberts was.
Robin Roberts was a great athlete at Springfield Lanphier High School and basketball, baseball guy. Ended up going to Michigan State to play basketball and ended up joining the baseball team, similar to what your brother did at Bradley, and went on to be one of the whiz kids. Robin Roberts is in the Hall of Fame, led him to the 1950 World Series. Just a tremendous, I remember reading his, I had a chance to meet him when I was at Michigan State one time, and so I read his, I went to the induction when Jim Thome went into the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, and I just loved, I think I spent about 8 hours just reading the bios of each of the Hall of Fame guys, and some of the stuff he did even as a young pitcher in the major leagues. But he's a Hall of Fame pitcher, Robin Roberts. But anyway, I was up to Lanphier, right? So Cahokia, from down around the St. Louis metro area, will be at Metamora. That should be a pretty good game. Taylorville is at Canton. Canton got to win their opening night, which is, I don't think they've done that in a while. Limestone and Galesburg go at it at Galesburg. Chicago Heights Marian Catholic, a good Catholic school program up in the Chicago area, will be at Morton. It'll be a tough night for Morton, and but Morton was knocked off. They'll come back fighting. I like the coach there. One of the I'll get O'Neill boys that played at Notre Dame is the head coach at Morton. Does a good job. Washington is at Troy Triad, which is also down south, and Pekin will be at Belleville East. And that takes care of the high school football. In soccer last night, Washington defeated Richwoods 1-0, I know, and a lot of the volleyball kicked off last night too in the area. We've got some real good
sports time.
Busy sports time. Something going on every night, and I'm glad there is because it gives us a little more to talk about on Tuesday morning. And that's sports on WAZU 90.7 FM in lovely Peoria, Illinois.
You got a Mike Olson on sports, and if you're just joining us, we're talking with retired Judge Steve Kouri. And Steve, we want to make you feel right at home with our music. Are you old enough to remember, what was it, Jack Webb?
Yeah.
I think.
Dragnet.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, I love that show.
Yeah, it was a great show. Anyway, we're talking with Steve, and earlier I asked you, and we got sidetracked, which is common on this show. We go in different directions at different times. Anyway, any funny incidents, anything humorous that tickled your funny bone?
You know, I'm probably giving away a secret, but we have on our bench in the courtroom a silent alarm, a panic button, we call it. And I had made a commitment to myself that I can handle anything that goes haywire in the courtroom. I'm going to go my whole career without pressing the panic button. So about 10 years into it, I had a sentencing hearing with a kid, a thug, who thought he was going to get probation, but he wasn't going to get probation. And he kept his sentencing hearing, he kept turning his head, looking at the back door, and I thought, this kid's going to make a run for it. He's going to run. So I'm poking the bear. And part of the sentencing hearing is, as a backdrop, we get a report on the defendant, his whole personal life, including the academics. And he had cussed out, and I read this material, and he had cussed out a teacher at Central High. And I bring that up to him. I said, what the teacher, I knew who the teacher was. I said, what'd the teacher do? And he said, nothing. I said, he did nothing because he couldn't do anything, but I can do something. Why don't you cuss me out? And he just sat there, and then he took off running.
He did.
And he jumped the rail. My bailiff stood in front of the back door. He flattened the bailiff like a fullback running over a defensive back. But unknown to any of us, including me, the prosecutor had played defensive back at Eureka College.
Wow.
I like where this is going.
And he goes after him and tackles him.
Good for him.
And then they're fighting and scuffling on the ground and throwing haymakers, and I'm sitting there.
I can handle it. I can handle it. Let me at him.
See, this is why I don't watch the Judge Judy. This is what I get to see. So I thought, I'm going to have to press the panic button. And I didn't want to do it, so I pressed the panic button. When you press the panic button, guards from all over the courthouse come running.
The security,
But nobody came running. So finally a guard comes and everything gets under control. It was a pretty messy scene and everything. That was in the morning. And then in the afternoon, the head of security comes up to me and he says, in my chambers, to go over what happened in the morning. And he said, why didn't you press the panic button? I said, I did press the panic button. So he goes out there and presses it, and it doesn't work. So I said, I'm not counting that.
So your record is clear.
There's no evidence that it was ever put.
Well, that does raise another question, and that is, have you been threatened by people in the court, and how did you handle it?
Well,
Carefully.
as I tell people over the years that ask me that, if you're around these knuckleheads every day, you don't think that they're smart enough to figure out a phone book and where you live. I've been threatened 5 or 6 times over the years.
Out in society, you mean? You just out?
Well, not word gets back that they're
coming after you.
So, but I never worried except one guy was, he was an award-winning military marksman, and he was an assassin, and he was when Obama was president, he threatened to kill Obama. He was sentenced, he's from Chicago, he's sentenced to the Pekin prison. And he gets out after he did his time, and they take him to the bus station, give him a bus ticket to Chicago. And he must have been nuts or something, but he attacks an off-duty police officer who was doing security at the bus station. It's all on film. And he came up from behind him and he really sucker punched the officer. Amazingly, the officer got control of the situation and arrested him. So he comes into court in front of me, a packed courtroom. I didn't have time to mess with him. to make small talk with him. But he wanted to spar with me. And he's jawing at me. I'm jawing back at him. I said, get him out of here. He's all shackled up. Get him out of here. I'll see you your next court hearing in a month or something. And he looks at me and he says, you'll be seeing me.
No kidding.
You'll be seeing me. So, I move on with my day. Next morning, I got 5 officers waiting for me to get to work and tell me, remember so-and-so? Yeah. He's wrote a 7-page manifesto last night. He's going to kill you. So,
That's pretty.
we want to put a guard on you for, 24 hours a day till this is all over. I said, don't worry about it. He's in custody. I don't want anybody on me. So, long story short, he gets tried, and we brought in an outside judge. The prosecutor says in opening statements, said he's going to kill Judge Kouri. Writes it in a manifesto. He gets up representing himself in front of the jury and says, that's true, I'm going to kill Judge Kouri. He says that at the trial. So he gets 7 years, which I thought was light, for threatening to kill me.
I think it's very light.
So I gave him 13 for hitting the officer. He gets 7 for threatening.
Consecutive or?
Consecutive. So he's got 20 years. I'm not going to worry about him. So about 6 months, 10 months later, prosecutor comes in to me and says, remember so-and-so? I said, yeah. He's out. I said, what do you mean he's out?
Yeah.
She said, there was a paper snafu, prison let him out.
Wow.
I said, where is he?
Yeah.
We don't know. So they found him some months later, put him back in prison, and then he died in prison. But that was the one that was...
Yeah, I guess so. I want to tell the audience and the panel this morning that Steve used to live a short distance from where I live, and when he and his wife and son moved, I was sad. I'm not anymore.
I didn't realize that.
Harry Whitaker was another neighbor not far from where you lived, and a couple doors from where I live. And he had death threats. And I said to Harry, doesn't it bother you? And he said, no. He said, if they're going to do it, they're not going to tell you to do it. Yeah. And I said, if you don't mind, I'm going to put an arrow showing people where you live. Yeah. In the event they might get confused about where they live.
Well, that has happened. Yeah.
But it is interesting how you have handled that, knowing full well you are dealing with some of the worst in our society, and they are unpredictable people.
I have wonderful guards in the courtroom. Yeah. It's easy for me to pop off.
Do you worry about it now, though, that somebody can...
No.
You don't have any...
No, and I noticed I can see the end of your 350 Magnum, so I know that you were... Hey, how do you feel about cameras in the courtroom?
I think they're good.
Good.
It's a change, but I think the more the public sees what happens, the better the public understands some of the things that doesn't seem
communication,
right.
Is it true that judges spend a lot of time reading judicial results of other cases that might be similar to what you're considering?
The good judges do. The good judges do their homework and are prepared. Not all judges do that.
Yeah. You've had a fabulous career. Do you think you're going to miss it?
I miss the people.
Yeah.
I miss the staff. I haven't, it's only been 3-4 weeks. I haven't missed the cases, which I thought I would, but I miss the staff.
You thought you'd miss the.
You know, I would hear on the news some shooting or something, and I think I
could have had one.
I hope I get that case.
Really?
Well, now I don't see it, or I mean, I see it in the
but
news.
And you don't care.
I don't care.
You know, it's almost the same way of the coaching and teaching. You miss the coaches. You miss some of the kids.
Anybody misses the work. You miss all the people
but
you
as
work
far
with,
as being in that classroom for 5 classes a day, and no, I don't miss that.
This is a personal question. I know your wife, a lovely wife.
Yep.
Ronald Reagan once said about his wife, and I think it applies to many of us, you married up. And did you use her as somewhat of a counselor when you face a difficult decision, particularly at a sentencing?
No, I purposely I didn't bring it home. I didn't.
Because she is a nurse.
I didn't want to talk about, and you know, she would on occasion say, "Hey, so and so's got jury duty. Is she on your case?" Or so and so has a traffic ticket, and I'm like,
You didn't want to hear that, did you?
No.
I got bigger fish to fry.
I can't talk about it, so I didn't talk about it at home.
Good for you.
Well, God bless you for coming in
Coming
this
in,
morning.
Steve. Very,
Don't
very
be a
interesting
stranger, you
and
know,
informative.
You're welcome anytime. And
I enjoy your show. I listen to it virtually every day. When I'm out of town, I plug it in on YouTube, and
Boy, all right.
and I know your schedule. I know who's here on what day, and
Yeah. Do you feel like what you heard on this program impacted your decisions? No, I'm just
all
kidding.
the time.
Yeah.
I would.
I sure in hell not going to have him.
I had a little bracelet. What would Roger do?
Yeah.
You thought
It was
I'm
called-
gonna keep working so I don't have to sit in that chair.
It was called a Mickey Mouse rock, right?
All right, I'm gonna let you do your show.
All right, thank you. God
Thanks,
bless
Steve.
you for your service to the people of Central Illinois. Steve Kouri. Let's close our newscast with our final news of the morning. We are brought to you by Morton Community Bank, founded in 1960. It has grown over the years, and today it has 50 branch locations offering personal, business, and agricultural banking services with that well-known hometown feeling. Look for the clock tower, and you'll know they have time for you. Member FDIC. With the news, here's Terry.
Morton police were called to the FedEx facility at 500 East Highland Street shortly before 9:30 yesterday morning, where they found a man dead of an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound inside a vehicle. The weapon was recovered. Authorities confirmed there was no active threat or danger to the general public, but the emergency response by police coincided with a secure safety response by Morton schools. Meanwhile, they had a lockdown at Pekin High School after officials received a bomb and weapon threat via a swatting phone call. A swatting call is a fake emergency call made to police or to a school or a business, forcing police into sending armed officers to a targeted location. It's a way of harassing someone or someplace. After a search of the school, officials determined the call was a hoax. There's been a shakeup at the Creve Coeur Police Department. Creve Coeur Mayor Fred Lang says the police chief, a deputy chief, and an officer all resigned on Friday. No reasons were given for the resignations. Lang said Dale King has been appointed interim chief, replacing Justin Egan. Also gone are Deputy Chief Dan Nelson and Officer Dustin Ward. Woodford County Chief Deputy Dennis Tipsworth reports the arrest of 6 people he says were involved in the indecent solicitation of a child for sexual purposes. The gang of 6 are from a number of cities, including 2 from Peoria, 55-year-old Richard Police, and 31-year-old Michael Douglas Jr. No relation to the other Michael Douglas Jr. Also charged were 79-year-old Stephen Rassey of Morton, 66-year-old Jeffrey Collier of Bloomington, 54-year-old Mark Stevens of Mononk, and 19-year-old Hayden Meeker of Villa Park. All 6 have been released until their trials. Peoria County prosecutors announced the arrest of 19-year-old Kamar Crabb on charges of physically abusing a 2-month-old infant under his care back in January. The infant suffered multiple bleeds to the brain and arm fractures as diagnosed by emergency room doctors. No word on why it took 8 months for authorities to charge the babysitter with aggravated battery to a child. East Peoria Mayor John Call has announced he will seek re-election. Call said he's proud of the accomplishments that the city has made under his leadership during the past 7 years. The election will be held on April 6th of next year. And the Supreme Court has ruled in favor of President Trump's decision to replace restrictions on voting by mail. Trump has maintained for years such voting is vulnerable to cheating. 23 states sued to lift the executive order restrictions. They lost. And those are the headlines, Roger.
Now a check of the weather brought to you by Realtor Kathy Reynolds of Home Smart. Now listing a beautiful 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo in the city that has an unbelievable view of the countryside from a gorgeous living room. This home has a beautiful kitchen with adjoining dining room plus other beautiful, wonderful amenities. Get the exciting details. Kathy Reynolds. You can reach Kathy today at 309-696-2162. And the weather is brought to you with Dan McDonough. But I do have this breaking, Dan. I'm not sure you have it. Patchy, dense fog has formed across portions of central Illinois, especially near the Illinois River Valley and other low-lying areas in the last couple of hours. Visibility may fall below 1/4 mile at times through early morning, leading to potentially hazardous travel conditions. Now, I don't know what time that was issued.
I've not seen that.
Meanwhile, what do you have?
Well, I'm telling you, what I think it came from lots of prayers. We were praying for beautiful weather. We had a wedding over the weekend, and I think it's continued. So it's continued.
Was it a nice wedding?
It was a beautiful wedding. Actually, we talked about having an outdoor event in August. On August 27th in Peoria, Illinois. You never know what you're going to get there.
I was going to say, that's a little risky.
Boy, it was an outdoor kind of a happy hour thing from 4 to 5, and it could not have been more perfect weather.
Was it here in Peoria?
It was here. The wedding was in Morton, and then the reception was out in North Peoria. So, it just absolutely
So,
perfect.
a beautiful day for a wedding.
We did. And it continues today. The weather today is going to be sunny and continuing with that in the low 80s, with a high today of looking at 81. Tonight will be partly cloudy with a low of 66. Tomorrow, sunny, breezy, and warmer with a high of 86. A little bit of slight chance of rain, about 20% chance. And then Thursday through Saturday, these sunny weather continuing and with the highs in the low 80s. Again, not normal for us around here, but right now 61 degrees with a feels like of 61 degrees.
Yeah, and I'm reading about the fog statement that was issued earlier this morning, but continues until 9 o'clock. So it is 8:37 right now. I would think the sun has burned it off.
I would hope.
If anyone is driving in a fog, in more ways than one, let us know at 309-966-4044. One of the great joys of doing the show every morning from 6 to 9 is that we have the opportunity to talk with some icons in the community, and certainly retired Judge Steve Kouri is a community icon. Great sense of humor, and yet he certainly took what he did and what he's been doing with a great deal of significant personal responsibility.
Right.
He liked what he was doing, but he was a student of the law, and actually probably more like the professor of law for that matter. But learned a lot about him and learned a little bit more about the judicial process.
It was laughing when he was talking about that panic switch. When I was the wing commander out at the base, we also had a panic switch for,
really?
If you're giving some people bad news, occasionally, I like him, never used it. officially. So there was one time that the problem was I took over from General Robertson. I'm a little bit taller than him with longer legs, and the panic switch was right over on the right side under my desk. Well, one time I leaned up against something. I didn't know what it was. And the next thing you know, a couple cops come strolling into my office, like, in a panic. Yes, sir, what can I do for you? And I'm looking at them like, I don't know, what can I do for you? We kind of had this standoff as to what's going on. He said, sir, you activated the panic switch. And I said, if I did, it was by accident. I have no idea what you're talking about. They came around and pointed it to me, and they pointed it out, and I said, oh, I didn't know what that was. So,
that was part of, or wasn't part of your orientation
it was not.
job. No one told you about the button there.
He didn't show it to me on the way out, so I accidentally hit that, and they did respond.
That's good. So yours was looked up.
Unlike Judge Kouri.
Judge Kouri was on his own there.
On his own.
When did you first, Mike, meet Steve?
I think basically when we were just talking about some things. I remember when he was at Spalding, and then I think probably through Jerry Brady is where I really met him at different functions, and I know he helped with the Paul Rutherford Christmas baskets.
Are you still doing that?
Oh yeah.
I thought was Jerry's son? Did he take it over?
Yes,
and
they
isn't
did.
he a fireman?
And my
He's
sister
a fireman, is he not?
Yeah, the fireman, and then one's a lawyer too. The younger boy's a lawyer, and then my sister Sue Brady, who's the widow. They've kind of streamlined it. It got to the point where it was almost
it was a big job.
A big job, and a lot of, especially for the organizers. So basically now we just give monetary money. Kind of the old kind of the gift card present. I don't hear nobody complains.
No.
No.
They're not collecting food items and
no.
turkeys and so
That's what I'm saying. They get so.
But
we still give the gifts out. They get the
toys. Are you talking
toys
about?
to when somebody applies to get a basket food and toys for their kids, they list 9-year-old girl, 8-year-old boy, 7-year-old girl. I mean, some of them got as many as 7 or 8 that and they're a long list of them, but they all get a present. And like Paul used to say, when you get rid of all those presents. Now we don't want to see any presents back here, and it's wonderful. I help every year, and it's one of my Christmas
that was
traditions.
one of Jerry's primary goals or programs that he supported. I didn't know whether or not to get into this case involving the 6 people who have been charged for a couple of reasons. One, innocent until proven guilty.
True.
And talking about how terrible this story is, but again, we might be wrong. I don't think we would be for what. And the other reason is, although when I talked to him about coming in, I said, "Is there anything that you don't want to talk about?" And he said, "No."
I thought he was very open. And,
which is the history of Steve Kouri.
He's a straight shooter. I'm trying to think. There was one. His daughter was a cheerleader. My wife was the moderator for the cheerleaders at Notre Dame when she was teaching there for many years. And I used to, we'd be at games, and of course I'd go to her games if I wasn't in them, and then he would be there, and I would sit with him occasionally. But how can you not like the Kouri family,
It is interesting about cameras in the courtroom and cases where you had people who were bad guys. I recall Bob Manning, Bob's father, who was judge for many years, and the story was told about him and a guy who was smarting off to the judge, and Bob Manning allegedly said, your smart mouth just got you 5 more years in prison. Whether that's true or not, because they do have, and that was another, we'll have to have him back, another question about legislators, I guess, are the ones who are setting the limits, the restrictions
Right.
about who gets what and how many years and how large is the window of sentence,
Right.
and whether they like that or don't like it. Ask him about what is the law now, the no cash bail. Is that since it's enforced, and we heard people say for the last since it's been passed, well, it needs tweaking, but I don't think they've. If
Tweaked
it's
it
Twinkies, it's something they've been eating rather than
I was going
talking
to say,
about
is that
for that
Twinkie
matter.
or tweaking?
Exactly.
Or is that use or use?
Yeah, the use. I could play that until the cows come home. One of my favorite
Two
movies.
Utes.
My cousin Vinny. Hey, one more check of the pet tip of the day.
Today's pet tip is brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Pet lovers are dedicated to their animals, all species from horses to turtles and of course cats and dogs. If you are a pet lover, learn these little known, somewhat amazing facts about your pet. As you are listening to my program today, I wonder how many of you are in the car driving somewhere with your dog. Maybe to the park, a quick trip to the store, or on your way home from a trip. Well, look around you. Where is your dog seated? Is he loose on the seat next to you, or in the back seat sitting between the kids, or worse, on your lap between you and the steering wheel? There are no laws requiring pets to wear a safety belt or harness when riding in vehicles, but as loving owners, it's up to us to ensure their safety. No matter how short the drive, our dogs are at danger just as we would be if we didn't wear our seat belts. Common sense dictates that we place our pets in the rear away from the driver. Then, when properly restrained, if a quick stop is necessary, Fido is safe on the back seat and not hurling into the dashboard. The skeletal makeup of our pets being thrown into the dash or off the seat onto the floor can very quickly cause broken bones or internal organ damage. A simple quick stop or slamming of the brakes is all it takes. In the event of an accident, airbags deploy with great force, and that combined with the force of impact can cause death. A dog left loose can be hurled into the driver or the occupants. If your dog is harnessed and clipped into a seat belt, he stands a chance of survival just like you. This whisker of information has been made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting in partnership with Spot, Saving Pets One at a Time, and KSBR Studios. Produced by Joseph C. McGuire and theme music by Stuardo Glasser.
Today's pet tip has been brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Well, there's our pet tip of the day, and again, our thanks to retired Judge Steve Kouri for being our guest this morning. You know, Dan, the thought occurred to me that it's been said more than one time that the 182nd is a city within a city. And it does raise the question, do you have some kind of a judicial process out there in the case that you have someone get out of line or do something that requires, shall we say, some kind of a justice decision?
Well, it's a little bit different. If it's something that where people are actually, where we would typically have arrest authority, meaning somebody's done something really bad, we actually use the municipalities. We use the sheriff.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
But we do have a legal, certainly, we have a huge legal team inside the state of Illinois, and then at the base here, there are typically three lawyers. And actually, one of which is Christian Mitchell, who is one of the folks that's running with Governor Pritzker as his lieutenant governor on that. So he's one of our JAGs, our Judge Advocate General. So we've got again a big staff, and then those guys are typically used to both represent the wing, and then also represent folks. Typically, if somebody's in trouble and they need legal advice, they would serve for maybe another wing in the United States. But yeah, we've got a pretty robust legal. And when I was the commander of the Air National Guard in the state, I was surrounded by lawyers. The higher you get in
the more lawyers you need for protection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many
That's
times
interesting.
I'd say, well, what's the JAG think? The very first thing would be, because I'm going to get myself in trouble if I don't go with the JAG. And you're kind of hanging out there sometimes between the legal. You get legal advice, and you say, okay, I understand the legal advice, and I'm going to go from the military perspective. Might be slightly different than the legal advice, but yeah.
Yeah, but you did have you might say, a justice system of some sort internally, did you not? As an example, when I was in basic training, if a guy goofed up, they sent him to KP duty.
Well,
the worst, by the way, was washing pots and pans, et cetera. So you do have some kind of a system, do you not, of local governance?
What we do is, again, because most of the people are part-time, so something as an example, somebody gets in a bar fight off duty, or probably most often, unfortunately, gets a DUI. And so then they have to report that to their commanders, and then I, as the wing commander, Rusty, is currently doing this. They have what's called a status of discipline board every quarter, where because there are 17 squadrons out there, we want to make sure that Squadron A is doing the exact same thing as Squadron D. So they would say, hey, I had this guy who got a DUI, and so I kicked him out of the military. And the next squadron commander go, I don't want to kick my guy out. So as the commander, as Rusty now in that role, sits and says, okay, well, I'm going to establish that if you get a DUI, that this is what's going to happen to you. You're going to get in trouble. You're going to have this thing happen to you, or whatever it is. And then unfortunately, we've had, things all the way up to manslaughter, where folks have killed people by in a vehicle. So that all the way down to somebody stealing a pair of shoes or something like that. So what we do is, again, that's just try to make sure that everybody gets the same kind of treatment. So
I see. But there are things, as you said, not as serious as manslaughter, DUI, or something, and I don't know what it would be. Maybe you have an example or an illustration of someone doing something inappropriately or inaccurately, because we're all human, we all make mistakes and so forth. How do you issue corrective action, or what kind of corrective action internally?
Yeah, typically what it would be is they get a stern talking to from their boss, like with the commander at whatever level, and then depending on if it was something that they really, the commander is not happy with, we can kick them out. But so you have all kinds. Or you say, hey, I got good news. For the next 3 days, you're going to wax that van there, or we'll find some, like, to your point.
Well, I would like that charge. I would like that penalty.
Yeah, well, no, you wouldn't.
Oh, okay.
No, you wouldn't.
Take my word, I wouldn't. Okay.
Yeah. So, and then the higher, things would typically, the elevation would be, okay, the squadron commander or the flight commander would mention something to somebody, and then it would go to the squadron commander, and then it might go to the next layer, would be a group commander, and then if it ever got to me, they're in a lot of trouble if they're and so I was typically, and I would tell people, okay, you're either going to get better or you're going to go away. So it's kind of like a light switch. You stop doing what we're doing, turn the lights on, great. If you don't start acting up or just doing what you're supposed to, you're going to go have an opportunity to excel somewhere else, but will not be here. So
now there was a big difference in what you just gave and my experience. I couldn't, if I knew that they would kick me out, I would have done something to kick me out. As a matter of fact, I have a wonderful story I'd love to tell on the air, but I'm going to have to save it off the air. It's not a bad, but it's just in poor taste to give that as an example. What do you? How would you rate the food in your kitchen? Because that was an issue. When before I got drafted in the military, I would hear guys, veterans who had been in the service, and the food is terrible. No matter where I went, whether it was Fort Carson, Fort Bliss, or in West Berlin, or outside of Frankfurt, everywhere I went, the food in the Army was absolutely wonderful.
It was? That's good to hear.
Absolutely, absolutely. And their desserts were, I won't say to die for, but were wonderful.
Yeah, careful how you say that.
Yeah, exactly right. But what kind of rating do you give the food at 182nd?
I'd say it's fantastic. Like I said, when I was the wing commander, I used to eat in the chow hall, or actually we call it now the dining facility, not the chow hall anymore. But I would eat there every drill weekend, and it gave us the opportunity of showing the folks that were preparing the meals, and they had long days. They got there, often they'd be there at 5, 6 in the morning.
In the middle of the morning.
Yeah, and then they're there until 4 or 5 o'clock to they got to clean the
After
kitchen.
last dinner, yeah.
So they were, but it was very good. I enjoyed it, and on the other side, when we deploy and go to some of these other facilities in Iraq and Afghanistan, the food was very good to the point where I would gain weight when I went over there.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
Pretty good.
You could eat whatever you wanted as often as you wanted, and so I got to the point where I said, okay, maybe not so many cookies here, because you're getting a little thick around the middle.
Yeah. Interesting, one of the things, and I mentioned this on one other occasion some time ago, is that, boy, wait till they start serving you SOS, which what the acronym stood for. We don't say that on family radio or whatever the case may be. But basically, it was chipped beef with gravy on toast or bread.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. Yeah. And my veteran friend said, "Are you nuts?" I said, "I thought SOS, on a shingle was absolutely delicious." I don't know, what were your thoughts?
Well, I'm not a big fan of that stuff, but I tell you what, same kind of thing. You get hungry enough, you'll eat anything.
Yeah,
but where I was going with that is today we wouldn't have just that. We'd have an omelet, and we'd have maybe oatmeal or something else that I could always choose from. Yeah, so we had plenty of options. And again, there's nobody out there going hungry if they are that they chose to do that.
And yet, having said what you just talked about, I have been in Bartonville Diner or other restaurant in Barton. And I've seen guys from the Air Base, and maybe there's some. I didn't look closely because there is an Army.
Army facility
with driving distance as well. But it's like anything else, with due respect, if you eat at the same restaurant every day, 3 times a day, you like a little bit. I think I'm going to go off base today.
That's exactly right,
Are they given an hour or a special amount of time to go elsewhere?
Just like anything else, you get a certain amount,
you have to
within
punch
reason.
Do you punch in or punch out?
No,
okay.
But if you're gone too long, then somebody's going to let you know.
Yeah.
So
I think he wasn't he a Chinese spy on Too Long?
Too long.
Or something.
But I'm pumped.
A little bit. Well, we're going to wrap up things. Did you have fun this morning?
I did.
I
did. I'm excited. I'm getting ready. Actually, I board an airplane in an hour and 10 minutes, so there won't be much talking here after it's over.
Yeah, you're going out of town, out of state. And so
Del Rio, Texas. That's a garden spot of the planet. Yeah.
Are you able to fly a C-130 there? Or
I wish.
You can't.
That would be nice.
You can't go to the library.
Can I borrow one?
Like you go to the library. Here's my card. Can I take a C-130?
No.
That doesn't work.
I can
that
fly
way.
it.
I could one time, and then I would end up in prison when I landed the airplane. Right. So,
welcome to our land, our world, as Jesse would say. Well, Dan, as always, thanks, and we look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. And again, our thanks to Steve Kouri. That was fun. And I think he had fun as well. Yeah. And let's see, tomorrow our schedule includes our usual visit with defense attorney Kevin Sullivan. I think they're wrapping up with that Lindsay Clancy trial. I think final arguments are being made today, and we'll see what happens. And we'll pick Kevin's brain for that. In the meantime, have a great day. Enjoy this beautiful August weather.
Goodness.
And thanks everybody on YouTube for listening and watching our program. You can access us tomorrow to Roger and Friends LS. In the meantime, have a wonderful day. Remember, God loves you, and so do we. So long, everybody.